Greetings. Critical the podcast this is. Mongo I am. Liger
Are you
Busa
Yoda?
joined as always by I am currently. Yes, also. Oh jeez. You ever choke on your own spit? That's great. That's a tremendous podcast intro. Don't edit that out. I'm Mongo, joined as always by my co-host Liger Busa. So we're talking Fire Pro Wrestling returns this week, which for some reason we were discussing literally 45 seconds ago before we started recording, or however long ago that was now. I thought they came out in August of 2005. It actually came out in September of 2005 in Japan, released. And I don't need this part pulled up because I remember released November 13th, 2007 in the United States via Age Tech. And then I forgot about this completely when I looked it up earlier. Released as a PlayStation 2 classic in 2013 on the PlayStation 3. Have no
that's
memory
right.
of that.
Yeah, I got that. I remember.
This is a pretty important game for the Fire Pro series. But before we get there, how are you this week?
I'm trying to do a Yoda impression. Frustrating week it was. Yeah, which is pretty much the norm for me these days. But tomorrow's a holiday, so that's good. How was your week?
Well, the first 2 days of the week, I was back to work. It was hotter than the inside of Satan's ass crack where I work.
Oh yeah, it's been super hot.
I canceled. Yeah, like it was, and for whatever reason, the store that I work in, they just don't turn the fucking air conditioning on.
Ugh.
And honestly, it's not even so much like air conditioning would be great if they could just dehumidify that fucking building. It would be wonderful.
Yeah.
But I had tickets to go see Fantastic Four and Superman on Tuesday, and I was like feeling really rough. So like I genuinely thought I had heat exhaustion setting in because like I had like a bunch of the symptoms and was like, I'm gonna get in the car, blast the fucking AC. When I get home, cold shower, and then I'm just gonna chill out. Also, the Inoki Blu-ray came on Tuesday, so more on that later. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just watch Inoki and rehydrate and see how I feel the next day. And I felt better the next day, so I didn't go to the hospital. And then like in the US, we have like a tax-free like back to school shopping weekend, except now it's like a 2-week period. And at the start of this busy period, I had to train someone on my job. And I went into work. I don't remember if I sent you the sticky note that I had that had all of the shit that I was supposed to do on it. But I was like, yeah, I can do this. And they're like, oh, you have a protege, you have a trainee today. And I looked at the checklist and I went, fucking none of this is getting done. I was like, no, we're done here.
Yeah, that sounds like bullshit.
It was, yeah. And then like I kind of just like did my shit and went home. And then yesterday I watched Freddy versus Jason for the first time since I don't remember when. And I saw that movie opening night in the theater with my best friend, and we had like a fucking great time. The next time I saw that was when my mom picked up the DVD from Sam Goody when it came out in like early 04, and I watched it and I was like, yeah, not quite as good as I remembered. And then the next time I watched it after that was like a decade later, and I was like, this fucking blows. And then last night, because I was talking with my friend about it, like, dude, you believe that was 22 years ago? So I went and grabbed the Blu-ray out of my Shout Factory Friday the 13th box set, and I watched it. My mom was in the room, and I was like, well, prepare for this one, Mom. And yeah, that is a really bad fucking movie.
Yeah, it feels very much like a product of the time.
Yeah, it's very 2003, and also like Freddy gets top billing, but it feels way more like a Friday the 13th movie than it does a Nightmare movie.
Yeah. Do you remember when they did like the weigh-in with Michael Buffer and stuff like that in Vegas?
I do. Yeah.
I think too it was. I mean, some of the previous ones were as well, but to me it felt weird because I didn't really grow up with them. Like I was scared of those movies when I was a kid, so I didn't watch them. And then seeing them at the time, they were like, it was the first time I'd seen advertising for it. Really, as far as I could remember, because I was like older at the time, and it felt more to me like a comedy than it did a horror movie, and I was like, oh, this is really strange, because like they're doing weigh-ins and like Freddy's cutting these promos and stuff. I was like, what the hell's going on?
He's big and he's slow and he ain't got no style. Yeah, I remember. My history with horror movies is weird because I didn't the concept of them was sort of lost on me until I was like 9. At the end of third grade, a bunch of kids that I knew, and I swear we're going to talk about Fire Pro. We're talking about like the Freddy Krueger movies were the scariest movies, and my frame of reference for Freddy Krueger is like threefold. I had a poster from some LJN game I had for the NES that had Nightmare on Elm Street, the game, and I think it was even the canceled version where you played as Freddy might have been what was pictured. And I remembered a new Nightmare ad playing after some pay-per-view in like 95. And obviously I remembered the Toy Fair magazine where they showed the McFarlane movie Maniacs for the first time. So I knew the name and kind of vaguely knew what he looked like, but I didn't know anything else. And they were talking about how scary these movies were. So like I worked on my mom for like weeks, like, let me go rent one of these, let me go rent one of these. And so we get to First Choice Video, and there's 7 movies, but they had 6 of them together. Wes Craven's New Nightmare, for some reason, is the only one that was like alphabetized properly. And I'm like, okay, there's 6 of them. I'm going to get this one, which was Freddy's Dead, because I want to see how they finally get rid of this fucker if there's this many movies, right? And he was immediately rendered non-threatening when he did the "I'll get you, my pretty, and your little soul too." I was like, this guy fucking rules. Like, how is he scary? The scene where like he cuts off Carlos's ear and Carlos puts it back on and it becomes like a little crab thing that like amplifies all the sounds, and Freddy's got the fucking expanding chalkboard and he's doing like the dragging the nail across it. That was the funniest shit to me. When I finished that movie, I called one of my friends who was hyping up how scary those were. I was like, what are you talking about? This is funny. This is great. And then, my older cousin, who's a piece of shit, but at least he was useful in this one instance, was like, oh, that wasn't that's not the last one. And he showed me Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which I watched that series in like such a fucked up order, but like having not seen Nightmare 1 and to a lesser extent Dream Warriors, a lot of that movie went over my head. Also, I was 10 and kind of dumb anyway. But I didn't like there's some stuff in the original that's kind of creepy. The part where he like chops his fingers off and the lights are only on his eyes. Like that's kind of unsettling. The shit where like he's got like the really long arms, which I know how they did it now, but I didn't when I was 10. So I was like, oh, that's kind of fucked up looking. And like the body bag stuff in the first, a lot of the creepy stuff's just in the first movie. The rest of the series I just watched because I liked the characters, and they get a lot more elaborate with the kills as the series goes on. So like all of this to say, Freddy vs. Jason was a huge deal to me because I was a big Freddy fan and I'd seen like 3 of the Friday movies, one of which is the original, which Jason isn't even in.
You're better off watching Wing than that movie.
Yeah. You're better off playing Fire Pro for the Game Boy Advance with Nightmare Freddy in it than watching the movie. But it's super of the times. There's like a cornfield rave and like an attempted like sexual assault. And there's like the big fat guy who says the thing about, hey Jethro, why don't you go find yourself a pig to fuck? Because like whatever. And then the chick from Destiny's Child, I forgot how insufferable she is in that movie. Yes. And the thing that she says to Freddy about, she uses a homophobic slur. And I remember in Never Sleep Again, the original version of that scene was her looking at Jason and saying, I take back all the power I gave from you. I'm not afraid of you. Because that was like the whole thing of Freddy versus Jason is Freddy couldn't come back because nobody was afraid of him anymore.
Yeah.
She was going to say that shit to Jason and then Freddy was just going to go, wrong one, bitch. Like that's funny. That's a good gag. The shit where she's like, are you overcompensating for something? And then Freddy's just kind of pointing and then Jason's like, poof, you're dead. Like that sucked. And I remember thinking that sucked in the theater. Like, just a, like, put this, like Monica Keena is like a highlight in that movie, but not because of her performance. Does that make sense? She's very attractive.
I remember her being really bad in that, but it felt almost like on
She
purpose.
is. I don't think it was on purpose. Having seen her in like one or two other things, I just think she sucks as an actress.
Oh, I haven't seen her in anything else.
Yeah, she's really like nobody turns in a very good like John Ritter's kid. He tries because much like his dad, he can't be bad. He's no matter how much everything sucks around him, he's at least going to give an effort. And Robert Englund's really good in that movie too because he's Robert Englund. But like, fuck me, man, they gave him nothing to work with. And yeah, and also just as an aside, I remember when I was trying, like, I had made a friend at the Rotting Husk of Midway Games around the time Impact was getting pushed out because I was just like, tell me everything about the game. I want to know. And we were talking about like horror movies and stuff because like we both had that common interest. And it's very weird that I was like 16 and I had a pen pal who was old enough to be my dad that worked on TNA Impact and also had a hand in some other games at Midway. And he just offhandedly mentioned there was a Freddy versus Jason fighting game planned. And
So, would that have been like the Mortal Kombat team? Did they get that far?
I don't know how far they got. They might have just been concept stages, but basically the way he described it was it was gonna be a clone of like Deadly Alliance.
Oh, okay.
And then, obviously it never came out, was never officially announced, and he didn't send any concept art along. It was just kind of like offhandedly mentioned, and then we went back to talking about Impact. And also he told me some stuff about Mortal Kombat versus DC. And I remember telling everybody I knew that was excited for that game, temper your fucking expectations. This one might suck. And well, 2008. Anyway, so Fire Pro Returns. I actually, when I got a flip top, I placed an order on NCSX, which if you're in the US, that's one of the import sites you might remember. And we didn't send the money order until I got my flip top because I was an idiot and placed the order. I placed the order for that before my mom even bought me KOC2. And so I had the Bill Wood PDF guide, that big, like, if you printed that out, that shit was like a Prima guide, like fucking immaculate. And it wasn't until we moved to this house, like a month later, in like January of 06, we sent the money order and NCSX didn't ship my order. And 4 months later, you send a money order. That still counts, right? I paid for my order.
Yeah, sure.
And I called them, and the woman on the other end of the line was like, "This order is from August or September or whatever." I was like, "Yeah, but we still sent the money order." And she was like, "Oh, well, we got the money order, so we'll send that out to you." And I was like, "Cool, thank you." And my copy arrived. I think I called on like a Tuesday, and my copy was here Saturday. And I loved this game. I got Fire Pro D right around the time we moved to this house because I think I talked about it when we talked about Fire Pro D. My friend traded me his Dreamcast. And trade is like a really loose term. We both basically had shared custody of the Dreamcast and the N64, and we would just swap it when we got bored.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was familiar with the play style of the like 2D sprites, 3D ring Fire Pro games. And I had a whole bunch of those character guides printed off too, which some of those were really funny. Talking about like how Misawa beat Jumbo for the Triple Crown in 1990, and I was like, I don't think that's accurate. But I did so much like research on returns to see how much was different versus D, and I discovered that you could use a thing called a Max Drive.
Yes.
To basically download save packs, edit packs that people had made. And I ended up getting like, I think I ended up with another memory card. And basically, one was just it was the bitch memory card that like the Fire Pro saves got uncrushed onto. And then the edits got transferred. System got turned off. Fucking Max Drive went back in the computer. Rinse and repeat. I spent so much time in 06 assembling this ridiculous hodgepodge roster in this game of saves from Fire Pro Club, like the forum saves from like the main page of Fire Pro Club, saves that I found Googling Fire Pro Wrestling return saves on like Pro Boards websites that I don't even think fucking exist anymore. Because that was like before Workshop, that was what we did. And like, you wanted 4 tires for Sting? That's 4 of the 500 edit slots, buddy.
Yep.
It was like I knew people that had like 14 Stings and they were all Surfer because I think Lord Worm was the one that was like, here's every fucking Sting attire ever. It was crazy. And
Yeah, he had a
the,
blog spot, right?
yeah, he did because that's where he posted like the previews and stuff. And then I remember something he posted, like he got caught like buying drugs over the internet, so they took his internet away or some shit. Yeah, it was. I'm still not sure if that was actually true, but like, although I guess like I'm not going to have internet would be a convenient way of saying I'm going to jail for a year. I don't know.
Dude,
But like
I
I
don't know.
remember, yeah, like DJKM, Rev, uh, I think Captain Howdy even did like I think 16-bit Mania was his save, one of the saves I remember he had.
Right.
And there was such a wealth of content released for this game. Like obviously you look at like the workshop and Fire Pro World just has a fucking million things. And far more content obviously than we ever had for returns, but when you looked at the saves page on like Fire Pro Club, it felt like you were looking at the workshop like, oh, this has 275 edits. Oh, here's a WWF Legends save focused on like 90 to 94, and there's 300. It just the time it took to assemble, because you think 500 slots is a lot until you have fucking like
Right.
multiple tires for the same guys, and then you got to get like really picky about who you're transferring over. There was a point where I would turn Fire Pro on just to like reset my roster and refresh it. I wouldn't even play a match.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would do that shit all the time. So I got the Japanese version when it came out because I was like well into the import scene at the time, and I remember now as you were talking about when you got yours, like I remember selling my. I didn't have any money, so I sold my Xbox to my friend and all my games. I didn't play it anyway, like the original Xbox, and so yeah, I got it. And I don't. I told you this before we started. Like, I don't have any specific memories of playing like the Japanese version because obviously the English version came out later. So, yeah, nothing specific or anything like that. And you were talking about the Max Drive, and I was actually trying to remember what it was called last night. I was like, what is that thing with the little discs and the USB? And I was like, it's not Dex Drive because that was the PS1 big block thing that we used. I was like, what is it called? And I was like, Max Drive. Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, that was like incredible at the time. You know, as you were talking about, like no workshop, no community creations or any shit like that. This is how we used to have to do things, and it felt like it was a. I mean, it was a big deal because you had access to things that normally you wouldn't have access to, all these creations and everything. And yeah, the slots went by quickly, and I think the difference between edits then and the workshop now, and this isn't like attacking anyone or anything, but the workshop now, and there's so many people that have access to it. I think back then it just felt like there was more quality and um,
Absolutely.
put into the edits as opposed to now where everyone has access to it. So you have people uploading things with incomplete move sets or like logic not set, as opposed to then people are like really meticulous about getting everything correct. And yeah, I think
Yes.
that's probably the biggest difference.
Well, also remember when World launched in early access, there was a brief period where like some of the 2K creators came over, and it
Yeah.
was clear that they'd never played Fire Pro and didn't understand what like the parameters and such were.
Hmm.
Because like there were like Sasha Banks edits going up that had like higher point totals than fucking like Luthez.
Yeah.
And was it I literally just forgot Prince Devitt's fucking WWE. Finn Balor. Like Finn Balor edits going up there were like 220 points, and I was like, what? And you're right. Like the edit packs were higher quality during the Fire Pro Club days because it was such an isolated, like quartered off section of the wrestling game community anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody was a fucking sicko.
Yeah.
Everybody was like a diehard fan. Part of the problem with World is you get people, and some of them are very good at doing appearances, very good. But you download the edit and you look at the move set, or you look at the parameters, or you look at like the abilities and like the durability of the body parts and like the movement speed and stuff. And it's like there is a clear lack of how this like these are not people that had Phil Parent's fucking data for everybody just out there for years that they could look at for reference.
Right.
And so with World, it's not as there's people doing good work on World, obviously, like the Phil Parent anthology. Like I love having the Fire Pro canon. But like some of those packs that I've seen, it's like Brock Lesnar with the lucha stance because he does the little, as I stand in my kitchen doing it, the little bounce jog thing.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make any sense. Guys having
No.
the shooter stance, guys having like the hunched over, like, you know, the Corellan stance. Like, golly, some of that stuff is a little questionable. Thankfully, though, not a lot of that with returns. As for returns, massive roster, 327 characters. I remember it was talked up at the time by me and practically everybody in the community trying to convert the normies to come over and play the real wrestling game. You can have 827 characters in this game. Like that is a ridiculous number of characters. And I was disappointed when Returns came out because I'd skip Z. Like
Yeah,
I
me
didn't
too.
really know what was going on with Z. So like I didn't realize they took out so many of the WWF and WCW guys.
Yeah, I had a burnt
Like,
copy of Z, but yeah, it was. I mean, it was also disappointing too because the graphics were more like Fire Pro G than D, which didn't make any sense to me.
with Z, I think the biggest problem is they scaled the sprites down so
Hmm.
much because like they scaled them down, but they appeared to be like higher resolution. It's so hard to fucking describe. And with this game, the sprites were it felt like back to normal size. They don't feel as scrunched
Yeah.
down as they do in Z. And with the roster, one of the big things for me was like, oh, first video game appearance of AJ Styles. And, you know, first video game appearance for PD Williams, the first video game appearance for the Canadian Destroyer,
Yeah.
which, you know, that move is done to death now, and I groan whenever I see it. But in 2005, that was a big fucking deal.
Yeah, was this the F5 was added in for this one too, right?
Yeah, was it large rolling DDT?
Yeah, unless it was in Z, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think it is. There's also, I guess, no reason for it to be in Z because no Brock.
Right.
I guess I don't know. Obviously, the roster is very 2005 centric. So you have Kenta with the go to sleep, which is a big plus over KOC2. He debuted that move right before that game came out. There's kind of nothing they could do. You couldn't like hot fix a PS2 game.
No.
That just wasn't possible. Maybe if it would have got a greatest hits release, they would have thrown in the go to sleep animation. But
And if you wanted to give him like a replacement, you'd have to give him like
like the Gutbuster, right?
Yeah, exactly, which sucks.
Yeah. And like there was Spike had recommended moves for like Akiyama when he did the Sternest Dust too. I remember Sternest Dust 2 as in Sternest Dust as well, not Sternest Dust like Alpha. Yeah. What a time this was. So like you have Hiroshi Tanahashi a year before he wins the title. You have Shinsuke Nakamura when he's still kind of sort of a part-time guy, and some things never changed because he kind of sort of sucked back then too. You have like Kensuke Sasaki, I think, is a freelancer here, which is accurate, obviously, but like this is like right after he pops up in Noah, has the Tokyo Dome match with Kobashi. He's at this point like a month and a half away from the tag team rematch at Budokan and basically being semi-regular for both Noah and All Japan for a minute. before I. It feels like he just decides fucking I'm with Noah after a certain point. Um,
Uh, I'm trying to remember. Didn't he go from Noah to All Japan?
I feel like yeah, I feel like he still did stuff for Noah in '07 and '08. Although I guess he leaves All Japan in '08 at some point because I remember him pretty regular in Noah from like late '08 onward. Like he does the ROH shows as a Noah guy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a bit confusing to me remembering it because I do remember him in both, and then Suzuki was in Noah with Marufuji, and then he went over to All Japan. Those were two that
Yeah,
like went back and forth.
Takayama kind of bounced around a little bit too once he came
Yeah.
back in '06, which I fucking go get paid, bro. Like I'm not gonna complain. Um, I'm
What a
trying to think of
weird
like other.
roster. It's like playing this game now, and like I told you earlier, I played the matchmaker mode, which I love. It's only 12 events, which kind of sucks, but like doing stuff like putting Crazy Max together, and you get a little thing beforehand that mentions it, or you do like Muto and Misawa, and you get a little thing for that too, and finding like hidden secrets like that. Like I booked Florida Brothers, and then Kensuke was their surprise partner, so I made a 3-on-2 triple threat and stuff like that. Handicap matches was really cool, so I love that mode. But going through the roster and just seeing like where people were at the time as opposed to now, and stuff like that was just really wild. Also, like some of like the Michinoku Pro roster, which I wasn't like a fan or anything at the time, but I knew the roster because I felt more in tune or more synced in with what was going on in Japan at the time. Like I have no idea who's in Michinoku Pro now, but seeing like what
Fuck
were
me
they
either.
like the Italian guys? Oh, they weren't. Were they Italian or like Mexican? I can't remember. Like Spanish maybe. Like it's like a whole group of them, and yeah, like the Brahmins when they were like J-pop guys or whatever it was. And yeah, it's just like the roster's just wild and getting like um there's some other
You get
guys like
Danielson.
yeah, you had Danielson was in there. You had like Low Key and Noah and
Yep.
Mike Awesome and
Before
Noah's
he
the
burned that
genocide.
bridge.
I was like, oh Jesus Christ, that's a name. Um yeah, like it was just crazy like the people that like Rick Steiner was in Noah too, which I forgot about.
Yeah.
Um yeah, it's just wild stuff.
Madman Pondo's in this game, and so is
Too
Too
Tough
Tough Tony,
Tony.
but not Necro
Yes.
Butcher, who was Pondo's partner.
Yeah, that was real weird too, seeing them. I forgot what they were in the game.
Big Mouth Loud is represented in the freelance stable with Shibata and Murakami.
Yeah,
And then like you
underrated
look at the
promotion.
American roster and it's so fucking weird, man.
It
Like,
is, yeah.
okay, you got the
You got like
outsiders.
I thought I was looking at Veda, but it wasn't Saber. I was looking at Dan Bobish, and I was like, oh yeah, Dan Bobish from Hustle. Forgot about that dude.
Fucking Matt Gaffari, Sylvester Turkey's in this
Ah,
game.
yeah,
Uh fucking Tom Howard's in this game, and apparently he's married to like Zoe Stark, who's currently on the WWE
y-
roster, which is like that's fucking that's something. That's crazy. Uh
yeah,
you got like Abby and Tiger Jeet Singh, I remember in like the American Legends roster, which is like why is Abby not in like the All Japan Legends roster?
yeah. That would have made
It
more
just doesn't
sense. They
make
always
any
did stuff
sense
like
to
that.
me.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like obviously being the mid 2000s, there's like Fedor in the game famously. I remember when this game came out in the US, there was someone on Wrestling Fix. I think it might have been ZT Styles. He messaged me like, "Hey, I'm looking at the rename guide, and the guy that they say is Fedor, he's black." And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, you just gotta do like you just gotta change skin tone or look at the other
right.
three attires." And he was like, "Why did they do this?" And I was like, "I have no fucking idea, bro.
They made like Bob
I have
Sapp
no
really
clue."
light skinned too, right?
Yeah, that was always really weird to me because that didn't look accurate based on all the times I'd seen Bob Sapp.
Yeah, I
And
think that was just a way to maybe get around things when it comes to like trademarks or copyright and shit.
I could see it. Also, like, I don't think Mark Kerr is in this game, but Mark Coleman still is, despite
Yeah,
like,
Coleman definitely is. His
and
name's Tom
like,
Chuck.
yeah, and oh, what the hell was what was Nogueira's name in the Japanese version?
God, I have no idea.
Doesn't it translate to like Brazilian anaconda or some shit?
Nice.
I want to know what the people at Spike knew about Big Nog,
Uh,
because that doesn't
there's
sound like
some,
something you say for no reason out of nowhere.
obviously being Fire Pro, there's some like really fun and weird names on the roster.
Yeah, and then God, just looking, I'm scrolling the roster now. Like, what a fucking time!
Yeah,
Like Big Japan having this much, it's not even that much, but like Big Japan having this much representation feels crazy to me.
yeah, because like where all these dudes, like I don't see there's the dude I can't remember his name, but he was in the backyard wrestling games as well. You know, the guy with the jeans.
Not
He's like
Numazawa?
no, he's like the he was a small guy with black hair and jeans and like gloves. He's like the first guy in the old Japan group in Fire Pro. I forget his name, but
Ryuji Ito?
yes, yeah. And seeing him on this, I was like, oh yeah, he was pretty big deal at the time, and it felt like, and
Oh yeah, he was like the top guy. It was him and
yeah,
Abby Kobayashi
and you've got like Sakamoto as like a young dude, which is
before he discovered the wonders of fucking steroids.
yeah, with the white boots, which was another thing. It's like, oh yeah, that's crazy. It's so weird, you know. It just to me, I think for part of it to me is like I can go back and play like the '90 games, and I'm nostalgic, and I remember all these rosters and stuff. But this is a period, as I've talked about, like the 2000s. A lot of it, especially when it comes to like WWE, is like a blur to me. So going back and like getting hit with all this stuff, it's like, oh shit, yeah. And so it's all coming back to me, and you see like the New Japan roster and how sort of weird it was at the time, especially when you do matchmake, because you've got like the two big stars, which are like Fujinami and Chono. By their ratings, they're like the top big stars, and then you've got like your secondary stars like Yuji Nagata, Manabu Nakanishi, Tanahashi, Nakamura, and then you go down the roster and you remember names like Blue Wolf and
Blue
uh,
Wolf was fucking awesome. Just for anybody that doesn't know,
yeah, and you got like was it Masayuki Naruse was another one.
Naruse, yeah,
Yeah. He came out to BZ Ultra Soul was his theme song, which I loved. And
Josh
just like
Barnett's in the game.
yeah. Oh, he's considered a big star in the New Japan roster as well. And yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, looking at this roster, this is fucking wild.
Do you remember
Also, like a
too?
really small junior roster, if I'm being honest. Oh wait, no, there's CT. I was like, where the fuck is Liger? But yeah, CTU was the thing at this point. This game for me is really nostalgic because this is like the time period when I like got into Japanese wrestling, like the mid 2000s.
Mhm.
So this roster is like right up my alley in a weird way. God damn, I miss Blue Wolf. Also, Yutaka Yoshie is in this game. Rest in peace, King. Uh,
Yeah, I forgot he
I
passed
remember
away. That's
when
right.
he had a match and then died the same day. I think.
Jeez.
Yoshie's a very underrated guy, even among like hardcore Japanese wrestling fans. Because if you remember, he was in the Champion Carnival in like 2018 or 19, one of those 2 years, and he was like consistently like capital G good in that tournament, and people were like shitting on him, and I was like, what am I not seeing here? He's all these matches are perfectly fine. And then
Mm.
people did the same thing with Atsushi Aoki when he was in the carnival, uh, including Eric Stevens. I'll just take a shot at this fucking douchebag. Um, he shit on Aoki in my mentions on Twitter in 2019, said he was like washed and all this other bullshit, and was like, the day Aoki died was on Twitter like he'd never said a bad word about him, and I was just like, fuck you, mush brain loser. Gabe Sapolsky was right to book you like a fucking dork. Anyway, um, we got ROD represented here. Shout outs to Jamal.
Yes. Yep. Jamal Buchanan, D'Lo
Uh,
Brown.
in Kea. Yep.
Yeah, and you got, of
Uh,
course, Taka's in the Kaintai Dojo.
and then Voodoo Murders with Giant Bernard,
Yep.
because he might have jumped to New Japan by this point, but he like the first place he lands when he goes to Japan is All Japan.
Yeah. I think the likely thing was probably that they couldn't afford him, so Muto was like, "Hey, I'll get you in New Japan." But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, him,
And then you look at
Taru, and
this fucking Noah roster, man. I didn't mean to cut you off. We can talk some more about the Voodoo Murders. I loved this group. A lot of people
oh yeah,
didn't, but I did.
no, I loved like the ROD and Voodoo Murders feud, and I remember adding like I had like all of the members in this game by the end.
I was a big Shuji Kondo fan, like
Yeah,
oh 06, oh 07, oh 08. That little motherfucker could go. And I think part of the reason I liked him so much was he basically just worked like a heavyweight, even though he was a junior. Oh, he was a heavyweight. They booked him in the juniors division.
he's
And
the he's training. I think the Marigold roster now. I think he's the head of the dojo, if I remember correctly.
huh, I
Yeah,
did not know that.
yeah, I think it was just announced recently.
I know he's popped up in Noah a bunch.
Yeah, he's done like those Monday Magic shows.
Those shows seem really interesting as a concept, but also I am fucking not watching current Noah.
Yeah, I've
That
watched
is
some
that is not happening.
great Tsuyuka matches, and that's all I've seen from them really.
Looking at this like Noah roster, this is like the peak of this
Oh yeah,
promotion.
no, Jesus. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Um, just everybody you can think of from the mid 2000s peak is here. Wild 2 is represented. You got Sua, you got Rick Steiner, you got Loki.
You got Donovan
Scorpio's
Morgan and
still here.
Matt Modest, right?
Michael Modest, yeah.
Michael
Those guys,
Modest,
by
yeah.
the way, for anybody that's never seen it, they have a match against Kotaro Suzuki and Ricky Marvin on Departure 2004, and it might just be a home video exclusive, but it was on YouTube at one point. It was absolutely on the Ditch website. They cut a promo burying Kotaro and Marvin, calling them midgets and high schoolers, and saying, "If you give us a shot at Kenta and Marufuji, we'd beat them in 10 minutes."
Right.
It's like the one thing I think of with Michael Modest. Donovan Morgan doesn't really say shit in that promo.
Michael Modest calling someone else a midget is pretty funny.
It is, yeah. Yeah, he was a very, very small guy. You got, obviously, we talked about Kenta. You have the should have won the Tokyo Dome main event incarnation of Akiyama here. I think Kobashi gets a new Burning Hammer animation specifically for this game,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's awesome. It's not the wrist clutch version, which really, he only does that the one time to Kenta, right? Or no, he does it to Taue. He does it
Mm.
to Taue, too. So why doesn't it make it in? The Taue match was like almost a year to the day before this game comes out. Whatever, I don't care. He got a new Burning Hammer animation. That's all that matters. And like you have like the weird like mid 2000s 01 roster for whatever it was. Hoshikawa was here despite all of the damage that Takaiwa did to him. Uh, the previous, I think it was 04, the Takaiwa Hoshikawa cage match. That's like a
Yeah.
really sad. That's like a really sad thing. Have you ever seen the like exhibition match with him and Marufuji from like 10 years ago?
No.
Where like Hoshikawa's in like a wheelchair or something, and he gets in the ring with Marufuji, and they like it's like the most gentle rolling in the ring you'll ever see in your life. And like Hoshikawa's obviously just fucked up, and it's really sad. Because he had a lot of talent, and even if he didn't, like just somebody having to live that way because of having to do a spot that you maybe shouldn't be doing if you already have a concussion. It's not. I'm not going to say Takai was a bad person or anything. Like, it's pro wrestling, but like, fuck. But Takai was in this game too. Also, weirdly enough, so are cage matches. We'll talk about that in a minute.
You had
Uh,
Ikuto Hidaka and was it
Minoru Fujita.
Yeah, they actually, funny enough, they actually teamed on Monday Magic a few shows ago.
Huh. This is such a fucking weird roster. Carino's here, Spanky's here.
Yeah.
Fujita Jr. Hayato, I completely forgot he was around at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like if this game came out even like a year later, this Dragon Gate roster would be even bigger. Like, it's a pretty sizable chunk of the roster, but it feels like there'd be way more people in this game if it dropped in like 06. Or if, you know, if
Yeah.
we would have gotten fucking Fire Pro HD, this roster would have been like twice as big. Because there was a point where they leapfrogged a lot of companies to become like number 2 or 3
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like drawing power and like, at least from what I perceived, popularity, because it seemed like a lot of the Japanese wrestling fans on Twitter really loved them some Dragon Gate. So we talked about the cage matches. Cards on the table, that's the big new addition as far as match types go. You don't have the exploding cage anymore. You instead have an American style cage match, which you can set to be like pinfall or submission, or it can be escape the cage. You do not want to play escape the cage. It the first time you're down, the computer will fucking just go and climb the cage.
Yeah, and
And
then
every single time you are on the mat, they will and they climb, it feels like way faster than you do, no
and
matter what.
there's no like any sort of mini game, which I wouldn't want it anyway, but there's no mini game for you to like attempt to stop them. You just climb to the top of the cage and then climb over, and that's it.
It's not fun. In like, cage matches aren't historically a big thing in Japan anyway, so why they added this is beyond me. I know that like everybody talks about like, well, they did the Tanahashi and Murakami one, but like that was also empty arena. This
It
isn't
was
empty arena, and also that was a cage that like surrounded the ring. It was like Hell in a Cell with no top. This is
yeah,
not that.
there was like a Choro and was the Choro Takayama did one as well?
I'm trying to remember if that was like a regular cage or if it was this cage.
I think it was the other cage that they used for the Murakami match. There was also and this was later, but they had like Suzuki and who was
Oh,
Suzuki's opponent?
Funaki in All Japan.
Yeah, that's right. But that was after this game came out.
Yeah, that was like
Yeah,
2010. That match is awesome, by the way. That match is
yeah.
actually really fucking good.
Um, yeah. I don't think Big Japan was doing any cage matches around this time. I mean,
Mm-mm.
really, the cage matches that like FMW was doing after the exploding cage. They were doing some like war games. At least they did one that I know of, like a war game style cage match. But yeah, they weren't like well, I mean, you had like the Bull Nakano and Aja Kong, but that was years before. So yeah, it was a kind of weird addition that they added cage matches.
Yeah, and like the death matches that are in Fire Pro World or in this game, they function like exactly the same.
Yeah.
The edit mode is the same classic edit mode from Fire Pro. This was the last game to have the gradients, which when we get around to talking about Fire Pro World, we'll go through fucking Gradient Gate and all of the stupid bullshit that that sort of entailed. The one thing I'll give this game over Fire Pro World in terms of customization is like you get to manually set the wrestler order inside individual stables and groups. There's no wrestler list that you have to kind of like maintain.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I hate that shit. And in World, it's a big part of why once I got all of the Fire Pro rosters, I wanted. Give me 1 second. I have to.
I like having my roster on alphabetical order, and that does take quite a while, especially on like first play in Fire Pro World.
Yeah. Like I don't have the entire Fire Pro canon. I will say that. I'm sorry if I misrepresented that earlier, but I have a lot of it. And when it takes, and I try to organize the rosters in the order they would actually be in the game, which is a
Mhm.
fucking pain in the ass, but it's ultimately worth it. But when it takes me like 45 minutes to organize a roster, I don't even want to play the game at that point. I'm like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm good for the day.
Yeah.
Not so much a problem here, but there were also points, I think I said this earlier, where I would just load the game up, transfer edits over, get my shit together, and then just not play it for a day.
Yeah, that's fine.
I also remember returns, especially once we got the localization. That was where I really learned how to do like computer logic. And I got some really good, like somebody did appearances for early Sinclair Broadcast Group TV ROH. And I had what I think are probably the best versions of those guys that could have possibly been done in Fire Pro World in terms of moveset, logic, stats, and everything. And I remember being so proud of myself, like, oh man, I finally figured this game out. And then like I never asked for permission to upload those because that's like super late in Fire Pro Club's lifespan too. And it didn't feel like the community was as active. And also that was like a couple of years after Fire Pro HD, which it can't be overstated how much like that really did take the wind out of the sails of the community. And, you know, it was years before the Fire Pro petition, and then, you know, all the people that signed it didn't so much show up when it was time to put money down, which is to hold it. That's a preview for the Fire Pro World episode whenever we get to it.
Yeah, I was never like a big edit maker. I was like other people do. I have a few edits on the workshop, but they're like the stats and stuff taken from previous games, just my own appearances. But like even going back to G, when someone was making like a federation using Dex drives and stuff, someone made my edit for me. And then when we had the Fire Pro promotion on returns, I think I did the appearance and then someone else came up with the edit and stuff. And the moveset. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, I've just never been like a big person for that. I just like if it's not something like KOC 2 where I can choose like the logic and stuff, it's already set, then I'm just like, I don't wanna deal with it. It's the same with like even like the WWE games. Like I hate downloading wrestlers that don't have like a good stats or anything and stuff like that. Like if you download a wrestler that should be a main eventer, but like their overall stats like 77, I'm like, I don't want to. Why would I want to play that? So yeah, I just don't like it. It's also tedious too. It's like very tedious going through the moveset and I mean it's like that with pretty much any game. I think it's easier with the Yaki games because there's less things to set up overall. So so yeah, I think that's probably the easiest for like creating wrestlers for me. But everything else, I'm just like, it takes too long. I don't want to do it.
The movesets take freaking forever. I did a virtual pro wrestling 2 moveset the other day that may or may not appear in a ROM hack forthcoming. And I forgot how tedious it was to do movesets in that game, and those movesets aren't even that freaking big.
Yeah, true.
Like I would rather let other people do the work, but also like when it comes to like the particular wrestler that I was doing the moveset and such for, I'd rather it be as accurate as possible. And I've watched enough Billy Robinson to well, it was whatever. It's Billy Robinson for the Ray Pride Ron hack. Somebody mentioned Billy's in. I don't know why I was being so cryptic, but I've watched enough Billy Robinson to fucking be able to do a pretty accurate Billy moveset in whatever video game I need to do it in. I also made some attire changes because Virtual Pro 2 has like the weirdest bodies because you either end up too skinny or too chunky in that game. There's no in between. Like Kobashi is like chunky and he shouldn't be so much.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I've seen some like medium Hayabusas, and it's like you really need to go for like the skinny body type for him.
And even that feels like kind of too skinny. Like there's no like in betweens. It really does feel like No Mercy is better about it. And maybe some of that's like the default stance being different.
Yeah, I think so.
Like maybe I don't freaking know. There's create a title in this game. It's exactly like Fire Pro World. There's create a ring in this game, basically exactly like Fire Pro World. there's a logo editor where you can draw the logos and stuff. I am not
Oh,
anywhere near artistically inclined enough to be able to make logos that don't look like dog shit.
yeah. Remember that when that was a thing? You'd have to create your own logos or get a save instead of like just putting the logos themselves in the game. She used to
Yeah,
be
it
a lot harder
was.
than people realize.
Yeah, it was not a particularly fun time. It
Yeah.
it in fact was a real pain in the ass in some ways
Oh, I was
to make your Fire
terrible.
Pro saves. Yeah. I will say, if you have World, there's probably no reason to play Returns unless you just want to see what a stripped down version of World feels like.
I
This
really
does have
skipped.
the benefit of like the default roster, though. I will say that. So if you want a sense of the time and place, actually, that's a really good reason to go back and play every one of these games. Is it gives you a sense of like what the devs saw wrestling being at that time.
Yeah. I mean, you can also like download every single one of these pretty much on World, but like it
That's
is
true. Yeah.
it is I mean it is fun going back and seeing like what was considered the default roster at the time. And the rings even but I think the rings are all downloadable too actually. But
Yeah.
yeah, just seeing how everything was set in a default state. To me again, like the other reason to play this game would be the matchmaker, which is again is only 12 events, but
I still think
finding
it's
all
better than Fire Promoter, though.
yeah, finding all like the little Easter eggs and stuff and the little screens you get beforehand and when you reunite tag teams and have special matches and stuff, I just thought was like really cool. And I just wish there was more to it. I wish this game had like a Fire Pro Z story mode, especially because this is the one that got translated to English. So that would have been really cool. But yeah, you really are better off just going straight to World unless you really want to see all those default rosters.
And also, you like the UI is different. The background music's different. You get like
It's a lot more
you get the
colorful.
remake of the yeah. Like Returns has the most like different and like kind of weird looking UI. Like
It
the
yeah,
critical flag is so weird looking. It like almost comic booky in its
it's almost like a
appearance.
GameCube game.
Well, there was the rumored Fire Pro GameCube game.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know how far along any of that got, obviously, but yeah, like it very much feels like, in terms of like the UI and the music and such, this might be the most Japanese feeling of all of the games.
I think so,
Like this
yeah.
does not feel like a game that could or would have been developed and published by a Western studio.
Yeah.
Um, Give me just one moment. I will be right back.
No problem.
Gonna hit mute on my microphone. Feel free to do my bit whenever I'm left alone.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to say with returns. I think we've said pretty much everything. I mean, I think one thing we haven't talked about is how I've returns really introduced like a lot of people to Fire Pro, obviously for getting an American release, an international release, and people coming to like Fire Pro Club once they'd got it at their local GameStop or whatever, was a pretty cool thing. I think as Mongo said, like this was his first Fire Pro, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it was eye opening for a lot of people. And just the American release, and the international release was really cool to see because we all had the Japanese version, but nobody expected like an English version to come out. So it was really cool. And then again for it to come out on the PlayStation Network, was just like an instant purchase, just to support Fire Pro, and also having it on PS3 and not having to put in a disc and stuff was cool. Also on the network, they had Fire Pro G in the Japanese store, so you could have G and returns on the same console, which was interesting. So yeah, I mean, it was a big game. As we said before, there was like a lot of new moves introduced and an introduction for a lot of people. Um, so yeah, I think it's like probably one of the most important Fire Pro titles, which is interesting because it was returns. Zed was supposed to be the last one, and here it is back. And yeah, unfortunately, it was a while before we got a new one, and who knows if we'll ever see one again. Uh, really up in the air because it doesn't seem like Spike wants to fund a new one, even though Matsumoto really wants to do something. So the future of Fire Pro is, I don't know, like maybe eventually they'll do something, but right now it doesn't seem they have much interest, which is also kind of, it's curious because would a wrestling game really sell without the WWE license? Probably not. But you'd think like someone would take the opportunity to look at the popularity of WWE and at least try something. You know, is would it take would it cost that much to produce a new Fire Pro title and put it
Probably
on
not.
Steam? Yeah, it's like I don't know. I just think like there's an opportunity lost for people not to jump on a wrestling game bandwagon right now.
Agreed. Also, to clarify, I left my earbud in because I was like, if I put it down, I'm not going to be able to find it. Fire Pro 1 for the GBA was my first Fire Pro game.
Ah, right, okay.
This was the first Fire Pro game for a lot of my friends, though. Excuse me. Uh, my bad. Mom interrupted the pod a few minutes ago to ask for some water and was like, "Oh, I'm overheated." And I looked in the garage like 2 minutes later and she wasn't there. So I muted to be like, "Where the fuck is she at?" And she said she was out front, but I looked out front and I did not see. So maybe I'm just blind to my mom now.
Maybe she just
Like
wanted
that
to
one guy
smoke
who did.
cigarettes.
Well, maybe. That's always a possibility. Who knows?
You know, Another thing I was
Um,
thinking of is like when the American version came out, I think a lot of us were like sort of uh there was a bit of a mockery towards it because like the cover was very like it was pretty bad. And I know there's some like mistranslations and stuff like that, but like it really did introduce a lot of people, or at least a good amount of
yes.
people to Fire Pro. So, it does it and they didn't have to do it obviously. Like it was a when you look back at it, it was a really cool thing that it actually did release.
I still can't believe it actually happened.
Yeah.
Like, it is very much insane that Age Tech was like, hey, let's get in on this wrestling thing that was popular until just recently when, Chris Benoit did the thing he did. And they licensed this game. Well, then again, what the fuck else were they going to license? There was nothing else. Like Wrestle Kingdom, you can't do that.
Yeah,
That's
you
a
can't
lot.
do
That's a licensing fee on top of the licensing fee,
right.
and you'll never make the money back then. It's also important to remember this was the era when like wrestling games did not sell very well in Japan at all.
Mhm.
Famously, King of Colosseum 2 is estimated to have sold around 100,000 copies, and that's like if you go by the more optimistic estimates of how that game did. So like the idea that they released it here is interesting because there's also a chance they just thought like wrestling games are popular in the West. Let's see if we can make some fucking money. And I think Phil Parent like famously trumpeted the idea that the US release did sell better. It sold
Oh,
significantly better than the Japanese release.
also the list price, was it $30 or
15
something like
bucks.
that? How much was it?
15.
Wow, okay.
And it launched again the same day as SmackDown '08, which famously is a game a lot of fans did not like.
Mhm.
And you're right. People did mock the cover, the kind of sort of Roddy Piper, He-Man looking guy, and then the masked wrestler, neither of which look like anybody in the game.
No.
And I don't remember, honestly, if IGN reviewed this game, but it was the Greg Miller era of IGN wrestling game coverage, which is to say that motherfucker doesn't understand what makes wrestling games good at all and doesn't understand how to play them. So I would imagine it got some shit score from them if they did review it. But like, gameplay has always been the thing with this series, and it should be enough. If you put Fire Pro in front of a wrestling fan and explain the timing, they'll figure it out. It's just there's a high barrier for entry with these games if you don't know what that's the thing this game is missing, actually, dojo mode.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Just for the record, Greg Miller did review it and give it a 7 out of 10.
did he? Wow.
Yep.
That's way higher than I would have expected from him.
I didn't read the review, of course, but that's the score he gave it.
I would have imagined like 3 out of 10. Wah, I can't hit any grapple moves. Wah. Because I remember he bitched about the reversal system in All Stars being too difficult, and I was like, my 4-year-old cousin understands how to do it.
Yeah.
What's your fucking excuse, pal? But yeah, this game, it's Fire Pro. There's not a single Fire Pro game I won't recommend. Especially like if you want the context for the era in question, especially like I would recommend playing them because they're all really for the same reason I'd recommend like DPW 64. Like it is a snapshot of the greater view of pro wrestling in that given year. And you know, 05 was a pretty fantastic year in terms of things just changing. Like this, you look at this roster and so many of these people are not in those same spots a year later. So many of them have gone higher. So many of them are so much further down the card. It's a fascinating time in Japanese wrestling. Obviously, Pride is hitting its apex in popularity. We're just about to get the Yakuza scandal the following year. And pro wrestling had failed to see the coming wave. New Japan tried, for all the bullshit people want to give them. New Japan tried to ride that wave, and it didn't work. But also, you had two different like groups of people in the company trying to push for their own specific interests, and that's never going to work. When you have like Choshu or Chono, who wants one thing, and Inoki's handpicked booker Uwai wants another thing, you're not exactly going to have a harmonious product.
Yeah. Too many
and
cooks.
I still think, yes, absolutely. A lot of people blame Inoki for a lot of shit in that era. And it might have been guys that he put in power. It was not him directly. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, Fire Pro Returns is pretty rad. You can download the Guys on World and play with those guys in a better game. But like, I think context is super important when we talk about old wrestling games. So I'd still recommend playing this at least once just to kind of get a feel.
Yeah, it'll be wild when you turn it on and you view all the rosters and like, holy shit, this is crazy. This is what it was like at the time. Nuts.
The Fire Pro D is an even better game for that because like look at how big the fucking WWF and WCW rosters are.
Yeah.
Massive. Do we have any video game news for this week? Oh, Retromania replied to me on Instagram. Apparently that Savage DLC pack should be $10.
That's cool.
Yeah. Not a bad price. I just wish the base game wasn't so expensive.
Yeah.
Guess I can check in our old buddies at Virtual Basement.
Never talked about the latest WWE 2K DLC.
I guess we should. So we got New Jack.
Yeah.
Not ECW New Jack though. Hardcore Justice 2010 New Jack. And
yeah, that was weird.
Super fucking lazy. Like I've seen the entrance. Like I hate the entrances in these games for all of the like. You know, we're striving for authenticity. These all feel really robotic and not at all like how these people actually move. And New Jack, unfortunately, is no exception.
He does.
I don't even remember who else is in this fucking pack.
He does dance with the guitar like you would do, which was pretty funny. I like that when you do a taunt with it. And of course, like if you have the Extreme Rules match, his theme song plays over the whole match, which is In the Ghetto is a dubbed theme from the WWE Network. So of course I modded in a ECW New Jack. God, I can't remember the user that made it. My apologies. And then I give him Natural Born Killers as a theme, and it just felt right. It's as you said to me, it's like it's still 2K. Yeah, it just feels much better with that stuff. Bull Nakano's in there. I think her model is really good. They give her own top rope leg drop. She has she comes out with the nunchucks, and they give her the Midnight Express, the Orient Express theme, which of course was a WWE theme. So it's that theme song obviously is very stereotypical, but it's also a catchy song. I find like whenever it comes on, I'm always like humming to it and stuff. So I mean, it was really cool that she's in the game. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember who else was in the DLC pack. There's a Prime bottle, which is KSI. Don't really have anything to say about that. Jeez, who else was in it? New Jack
It was
Bull,
Jordan Grace and that
Jordan
too.
Grace. Yeah, yeah, she's okay. Her model feels outdated now. I actually replaced it with a mod, and her theme song's terrible. Like I don't watch NXT, but like there's this dude at the song that's like, "I always win" or something. I don't even remember what he says, but it sounds awful. Um, Penta was a part of it, wasn't he?
Maybe. I honestly don't pay attention anymore. I
Penta,
never bought the game. Probably
Penta,
won't.
like he takes off his glove and stuff when he does the taunt. And that's cool. I mean, it's Penta. The model looks pretty good. I feel like some of the new models that they've put in for the most part are pretty good. Like I said, Bull Nakano looked really good. Or Bull Nakano. Yeah, I don't remember what the next one is. Uh, I know the last one is like Sid and stuff, right? So that I'm kind of Sid's model in the previous games was awful. So I'm kind of interested
Yeah.
to see how he looks specifically. Um, I'm gonna have to look up the DLC because I can't remember what's coming up next. Let's see.
Also, the celebrity guest that we didn't get, it's now been confirmed that was Travis Scott. Apparently, he and the WWE had a fallout.
Yes. Yeah.
What a tragedy.
So they're replacing him with El Grande Americano. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the DLC was actually we just mentioned them all: Bull Nakano, Jordan Grace, New Jack Penta, KSI. And then coming up in September, we've got the New Age Outlaws, D'Lo Brown, Mark Henry, and Victoria. Still kind of wild that Billy Gunn's in the game, considering AEW. And then November, we've got Jesse Ventura, Junkyard Dog, Paul Orndorff, Sid Justice, and Tito Santana. And yeah, that's it. They did release more DLC actually this month, which was the WrestleMania 41 with the WrestleMania Arena. Jey-Uso WrestleMania 41, Cody Rhodes with this silly mask gimmick thing, helmet, and then Aleister Black to go along with them. The Aleister Black model is pretty damn bad, which is kind of weird considering he was in the previous games. And his entrance is just the entrance that's always they've kept in the game since he was originally in them. So not much to say about him there. I'm trying to think if there was any new My Faction stuff. Don't think there was anything released recently. I mean, they had released the Triple H 99 in My Faction. Uh, didn't look very great, so I replaced them with a mod that looks better. And again, the best thing about PC is bypassing having to get all the goddamn My Faction points or whatever the hell they're called, and just have everything for you default. Um, but yeah, like I said, the best looking character model is probably Bull Nakano from this DLC. Uh, yeah, it's 2 key. I will say too that B4G, who's done a lot of arenas in the past, just released arenas for 2K25 on his Patreon for free, and it's like God, there was a lot. There's like WrestleMania 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if it took place in the Olympic Stadium, and 8. And then there's like superstars from like 88, 92. There's like wrestling channel challenge from different years. WCW Starrcade 1991, Clash of the Champions, NWA, like TBS Studio, um, like a whole bunch of stuff, and they all look amazing. Like I sent you the video, and like the WrestleMania 6, it's got the top open, so you can see like the CN Tower in the background, which is kind of fucking nuts. And he's done some other ones which aren't on this free tier yet, but like on the pay one, which like Thunder, and I think Nitro 2000 and Club La Vida, which he did previous years, which look just crazy. And then he's doing a new generation pack, which is going to have various Nitros and of course like WWF from the time and stuff like that. And yeah, those arenas are just incredible. It is it is pretty cool, I will say, like having a match and seeing those WWF stages in the background, like even the ones that are like the block logo, where that could just be like the only thing that's there. Like one of them that he has that I forgot to mention is like Royal Rumble 92, and having that apron, that purple apron and stuff, it's just like that hits the nostalgia just right for me. So I think stuff like that is really cool.
Everything looks cool. It's just it comes back to it's that game.
Yeah, I know.
Like I feel the same way about those mods that I do if people made mods for like Thunder. Like that's cool. I'd still have to play it though.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather play Thunder though. Honestly, at least that game's funny. Um, so I've kicked the tires when we get to the wrestling figure news if I wanted to talk about fucking Powertown again or not. And then I got gifted 2 screenshots from the Major Pod group, which I sent along to you. So I feel like in a weird way I'm obligated to talk about it because there is sort of an update, I guess. So on the Major Pod group yesterday, Saturday morning Powertown update, Remco's did not ship to customers in July and have in fact not shipped from the factory yet. Once they receive true confirmation Remco's have shipped, they will post an update saying so. Thanks to Magnum for the update. A little bit later, I get sent another screenshot of the Major Pod group. Haha, my brother talks to Magnum quite regularly. Magnum has no idea. Word is Steve Rosenthal is being blamed for holding it up because they somehow ran out of money. They're looking for investors to bail them out. That's the truth we're not being told. And then M&M Figure Clothing and Accessories replied with, okay, that story is totally different because he said the end of August they should be here and he is supposed to send out another update. Your story sounds more believable. Hashtag somebody lying. And I would like to sit here and say, like, with all due respect, but I don't think there's any due at this point.
Are we gonna get
They
like
have.
another episode of Dark Side of the Ring for Magnum on this?
I honestly, I honestly, fucking, I would like this is like textbook 101 how to absolutely annihilate whatever goodwill and legacy you would have had to the larger like community.
Right, yeah.
The majority aren't going to care, but like those of us who are in the bubble that were told to kiss his ass for asking for updates, like how does that look now? How did it look then, but how does it look now? And all of the shit they talked about Zombie Sailor and like, well, he doesn't do the same process we do. Like, yeah, he does. Like the fucking like resin prototype, hand painted prototype. Some of those retros even start out as wax prototypes, and like they go through all of the incremental stages just like the Mattel figures do.
Yeah.
Although I don't think Mattel does wax sculpts anymore. It's all like 3D sculpted. But that's not the point. And like, oh well, we can't believe people were waiting 18 months on product. We are at the 17 months for the Powertown Remco's pre-order. We're at 16 for TNA. We're at exactly a year now for the Ultras, and there's no indication of an actual update coming. There's no indication we're actually going to receive these figures. And if I were the majors, after how they hung me out to dry, I would go fucking scorched earth. But they won't.
Nope.
And Kyle Peterson won't. He'll just do his stupid AI art conspiracy theory videos. And it's frustrating because, like, this line should have been a slam dunk. There are multiple people now producing wrestling action figures in a somewhat timely fashion, and they don't have these issues.
Yeah. Based on Ultra Series 1, this now should have been like the top of the charts when it comes to like non-WWE branded figures.
Absolutely. Yeah. They've pissed away a lot of goodwill, and I'm not shocked, because remember the thing that fucking the thing Rosenthal said when he talked with Wrestling Figure News. It was a way for him and Greg Gagne to each make 6 figures in the way of profit. So if the companies run out of money, I think we should probably start looking at the individuals involved and how much exactly they were taking out of it, out of what came in. And I'm not just talking Rosenthal, I'm talking like Magnum, Greg Gagne, certainly, just because of the implication of, the original intent of the line in general. Like, there needs to be like actual questions asked. And at what point do we see a class action suit or some sort of suit filed against Powertown? You can't have a repeat business of stealing people's money and not delivering product and not offering fucking transparency and expect to last very fucking long. You just can't. Like, that's not sustainable. And everybody I've talked to swears up and down that they're not going to pre-order again. Everybody that got burned by this round. And I genuinely hope that that's the case, because I don't care who they have signed. I don't care that, like, I like the people that they have doing the sculpting and the prototype painting for the figures. Those guys do good work. They also do good work elsewhere.
Pre-ordering from them is not even going to be an option.
No, because I honestly think they're going to skip town. There's going to be one last fuck you update, and then they're going to skip town. And the majors are going to sit there and just shrug their shoulders, when Brian Myers should show some fucking accountability. That, like, oh, I don't know why people get so triggered about Powertown. Yes, you do. Yes, you fucking do. And also, like, oh, I sound like a Powertown homer, but it's because I'm friends with all of these people. Fuck you. You have a responsibility to the community at large to not do shit like this. I don't care that you're the one in charge of the approvals or whatever. Those pictures that were sent were allegedly the pictures he said were mind-blowing, or whatever the fuck vernacular he used months earlier. They've done a tremendous job of destroying whatever minute amount of credibility they had too. And yeah, I'm so tired of the song and dance with Powertown. I asked a firm once again for like a refund, and they were like, we can open a case, but there's no guarantee. And I'm like, at this point, I'm pretty sure you can you can safely say there's not going to be a resolution in general. So just hand me my fucking money back. I don't understand. The Mattel LJNs went up for pre-order again last night. They sold out in like 20 minutes. I'm assuming there was some bot action going on, because WWE pre-orders on Target typically don't do this.
So,
Logan Paul was still available as of last I heard. They're going to learn a fucking lesson with those figures, and I said this last week. I understand the idea of like we're trying to appeal to a younger audience. There is not a child alive that is going to give a fuck about an 8-inch rubber figure they can't move.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not
absolutely.
1985 anymore.
Yeah.
Like this line is for the sickos and the old fucks. Um, you know who would have been a more effective pick for Series 1? Cody.
Yeah.
Fucking Jey Uso. Fucking Fraudulent Phil would have been another decent pick for Series 1. Roman. Fucking Roman would have been a good pick. But
Yeah.
apparently WWE insisted on Logan Paul. So we're just going to get him shoehorned everywhere. I had them in my cart for a brief moment and then was kind of like, I don't really need them. And then when I was like, wait, no, actually, I think I might want to have them, like that 0.2 seconds where I showed the weakness of, no, I actually want this. They were already sold out. And I was like, oh, yeah, there's a sign from the universe. I'm not spending money.
I guess they're trying to work something out with Mattel Creations for because somebody asked if they'd be available to Canadian customers because we can't order through Target. And I
Mm.
saw a comment that was talking about Mattel Creations. Um, yeah, I don't know. I thought about them for a split second too, but it's like, well, obviously I can't order them anyway right now. But like, just the space and stuff. Like I've got a like a basket in my closet full of the original LJNs, and I can't get rid of them. You know, so it's like, where do I put these? God, I know we've talked about Hogan, but I do like that his LGN. I do like the upgrade it went through.
It's very interesting to see them side by side. Like the face sculpt is actually different. Like it is a different figure that is very, very close to the original.
Yeah.
Um, I get why they went with Series 1. I would have done the later one just because that's a better figure. But I get it. I don't I don't know how fucking long this line's gonna last. Especially with like the pose choices, like you see Series 2. I talked about it last week. The Jesse pose makes no sense. The Austin pose makes no fucking sense. Like they're repeating the mistakes Jax made to some extent. No, actually, they're not. Austin in the Jax line wasn't like doing his entrance pose. He had like a double bicep thing going on. Never mind. Jax actually got it right. Mattel didn't. Um, and also, they're half the price of a big rubber guy, which I kind of figured Mattel's not going to do these at like a $30 price point. But like, eh, eh. Maybe next year when I have a target within like 35 minutes of me, I'll feel differently. Maybe I'll feel differently in October when these go back up. Maybe I will grab the Cena and the Dusty like I was thinking about. But yeah, I it's the Fed. Zombie Sailor, we actually do have news. He was at WrestleCon for I think 2 days. He had Roadkill with him, and also had the Roadkill figure on sale. He also had from the New Generation series, which is going to be on a green card, which I think we kind of knew because the little flyer thing that came with Public Enemy was green.
Right.
But on hand, he had Pettengill, Jinsei Shinzaki, Mr. Hughes, and Ahmed Johnson. He also, strangely, had the WrestleMania 7 Macho Man that I recall being the reason he said that production was taking so long on the Savage figure. So does he have? Are those going to be an in-stock drop for Labor Day weekend?
Makes sense.
And also, like we know that Bob Holly and Aldo Montoya are also coming in
Oh
the
yeah,
New
I forgot about
Generation
those.
set. So, like, is he just waiting for those to show up, or did he just not fucking think anybody would care? Um, it's very interesting to see where things are going with him because he did say the pre-order for Series 5 was going to be was it late spring and they were going to be in hand by the summer. So maybe he does have all of them in. I don't know. I would like to know. Actually, no, he updated the other pre-order page on the website. The Pinnacle Collection's still slated for Q4. So we're
Okay.
gonna see. He did say Series 2 would be offered when Series 1 was in hand. So by that timeline, I'm guessing early next year, maybe around the same time in the spring. would make sense. Hastel showed off the Regium Godwins. I saw someone sent me a picture. Those look so fucking cheap, and
Yeah.
I'm morbidly curious about the build quality because we've seen the videos of like Mitch flopping the legs and stuff around, and you cannot have that happen with figures in 2025, especially collector focused ones.
It'll be more interesting to see how future figures are on that line. You know, judging by his retros have gone from. You compare the old Ahmed to like the new one and the Godfather as well. So yeah, it'll be more interesting to see how they evolve.
Yeah, but that was also the product of like changing sculptors. He has
Right. That's
his
true.
sculptor for this line, and like it's obvious again. He thinks in scale means everybody's the same fucking size, and that's not what scale means.
Nope.
Like the shot of him holding Gangrel and Shamrock's heads side by side. Um, what what are you proving here? Like what is the idea behind this exactly? He teased a Brooklyn Brawler, which whoop de fucking do. Zombies got him coming eventually too.
Right.
I still hate the Martel pose on the Strike Force 2-pack. You can't do a Boston Crab with the Hasbros. I get the idea of it,
Still very
but this is
tempting to me.
I get it. It's just I don't know. Like it almost feels like the Luger Galoob, which
Right. Yeah.
obviously this has arm articulation, but like you can't really do a whole lot with Martel. Also, Tito's head's a different like shade of like plastic than his body,
The
which
Yeah, I saw that, and hopefully that would be fixed. Just talking about thinking about the Luga Gloob for a second. That's almost like the ops. The arms are almost in like the opposite direction of what they should have been, which is
yeah.
really strange when you think about it.
Yeah, that Galoob's a weird one. Um Looking at the Godwin's Regium figures again, I can't shake the fact these just kind of look like shit.
Yeah, and he ain't great.
Yeah, I like good for him. He did like a lighter paint wash on the overalls instead of them being like just solid blue or whatever the fuck, but I don't care. And apparently he's doing like a 1 of 100 like yellow prototype autograph Sandman.
Oh, okay.
I I also think it's really strange that like he's doing WWE CW Sandman and like the reply guys are losing their minds over like, oh, this is so much better. Like it's dude, it's 2006 Sandman. This is not the version of him I want. What the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, the people probably responding probably grew up with WWE CW,
Yeah,
which is sad to think about. But like, also you look at Sandman in the WWE games, and like I don't remember anybody being like, "Oh, that's the WWE CW. That sucks." People were just like, "Yeah, cool."
I hate those Mattel Sandman figures too. The hack one is whatever. Like that one is what it is. But I hate the ECW Sandmans they did. They're so fucking bad.
I got the hack because like that was the only one I was gonna find. Like I don't remember what the Sandmans look like specifically, but like even if like there's probably very little chance I'll ever see them in person. So it's like hacks
Well,
there. That's cool.
like Skull Zubaz pants with an ECW shirt, like a
Right.
white ECW shirt instead of the Sandman shirt, and
Yeah,
then
that's
basically the same two attire Zombies doing, but like the shirts aren't accurate. The body is really fat, and the head sculpts aren't great either.
the first
Um,
thing I did with hack was take off the shirt and try to recreate the pose from the ECW Extreme Music cover.
mm.
That's where he's sitting
Shout
down
outs
on
to
the
the Toy
floor.
Biz hack.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
I remember being sick, and we went to Walmart to get my prescription, and that was the set that had Sid. It was WCW Power Slam, and my Walmart I don't think had Sid that day, and it's really weird because I've had a dream about this in the last like few years, like watching myself on this particular day. It's very strange. But I remember walking back to the wrestling figures, and you know when you're a kid and you're sick, you don't really want to fucking. I mean, when I'm an adult and I'm sick, I really don't want to fucking do anything. But like, I just remember like moping back to the toy aisle, like, why don't they have my medicine already? And I looked up and I saw the Sandman, and for like a brief moment, everything was right in the world, and I was like,
And
oh, look at this.
he handed you a beer.
I wish. Um,
Take this medicine, kid.
I remember walking back to the pharmacy where my mom was. And I'm like, Mom, and she's like, they have Sid. I'm like, no, they had the Sandman. And my mom was like, who?
You
Oh
know the
god,
guy from
that
Spider
figure.
Man?
So I had a match with that figure and Mankind in my figure fed, and somehow one of those Jack's chairs took the ear off of my hack figure,
That's
which is
strange.
really ironic because who did I just say
Yeah.
he was wrestling?
Right. Yeah.
But like, yeah, I remember being like, wait, what's going on here? And I looked at like the side of his head, and it was like the ear popped out, like they pegged the ear into the head and glued it or something, and I ripped it out somehow. And like we never found it because I remember my cousin, who I was like, we were alternating playing matches. He's like, well, if we find it, we can super glue that back on, and we never found it.
I think I think we went to Calais, Maine. We went to Ames when that was it Ames?
Shout
Yeah,
outs to Ames.
when that was still a thing, and that's where my friend got hacked, and it never left my house.
We had an Ames in Lima. It started out as a Hills, but I think Ames overtook Hills. Maybe
Right.
was the deal there. And I remember getting Mortal Kombat 4 for the Game Boy at Ames, which is, not the best video game purchase one could make in their life,
We
but it
we would
was
go
it was a purchase I made.
we'd go to Calais for Ames, but that's not there anymore. So you go for Mordens, and then you go to the Walmart there, and that's just what they have really. Then Bangor used to have a mall, and I guess there's nothing there now, but that's where the Toys R Us was before we had Toys R Us. And the last time I went there, they had all the late era um, Hasbro's, which I ended up getting a whole bunch, and Hulk Hogan and the Wrestling Boot Band on cassette.
Oh Lord,
Yep.
I I miss that Toy Biz WCW line. I miss the Toy Biz TNA line. Those were great
Yeah,
figures.
yeah.
The Jazzwares AEW line, when it hits, kind of reminds me of the Toy Biz line in some regards. Mainly just that it's the Challenger brand, and they're putting out figures and they're actually good.
Mm,
Um, then there's the other there's the other 70% of the time where I'm just like, well, swing and a miss.
yeah. I mean,
But
that's the good thing, the Godwins aren't very good, but like Mitch and like Zombie and seeing these other lines pop up is really nice, just for variety too. Um, and like I said, we'll see how his figures go from now on. But do you see that WrestleFeds released a new image of their bulldog?
I think I saw that shared by the Bulldog Instagram page. Yeah,
It looks good. I don't think
yeah.
we need like 100 bulldogs, but it looks good.
I mean, shout outs to CMG. They're getting
Yeah,
that money.
yeah, they're really getting
Um,
their money off that one.
you know what I honestly kind of in a perverse way want. I want CMG to get the Hogan estate
Oh yeah, I mean he would be everywhere.
because he was selling Hulkamania shit at the beach shop, the Storm Collectibles figures. Famously, Hulk rules Hulkamania, the NWO Hogan shirt with an H instead of an N on the NWO. Like all of those shirt designs that you would want, he owns them. So imagine, not that I necessarily would even buy them, but like imagine Zombie doing like a fucking Pinnacle Collection Hogan.
Do you think like aren't they licensed through WWE like Hulkamania and all that?
I don't think there was a WWE mention anywhere on those Storm Collectibles boxes
When
because
you
Hulkamania, they had to pay Marvel Comics for.
because when you load up 2K25, it's like Hulkamania, Hulk Hogan are licensed through. It says something licensed WWE. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, you're right. The Storm Collectibles didn't have any sort of reference to WWE on them.
So it might be a gray area, honestly.
Maybe, but yeah, you can
But
imagine if like
like
CMG had him, you'd have Zombie Sailor figures, maybe have him in Retromania if possible, and it'd be all
Mitch
over the
would have
place.
400 Hulk Hogan's out in about 3 weeks.
I mean, it'd be an opportunity, like if you wanted Hogan stuff to get something new. Because if you look at the junkyard junkyard junk shop dog,
Junk
that's
Shop
what it's
Dog.
called, right? Yeah,
Yep.
like they obviously had like the Japanese Hogan along with the red and yellow. So like you could have other companies doing stuff like that. Like I don't think his WCW attires get enough play, so you could have those in different places as well. It'd be cool.
And he did have the WCW Hulkster shirt on sale on the beach shop too.
Right? Yeah.
So that's also obviously possible. And I mean, if it's the whole dude, it'd be the funniest fucking thing. CMG gets Hogan, Jazzware signs Hogan. I don't think
Oh
Tony
yeah.
Khan would let a Hogan AEW figure happen, but
No.
fucking imagine like unrivaled Supreme ringside exclusive Tokyo Dome Hulk Hogan, and it's just Hogan from the '90 Wrestling Summit.
Yeah.
I would laugh so fucking hard,
They've never done
but
like a
it'll never happen.
no holds barred. No, I'm not talking about like the blue attire, but like the red and black bandana and the shirt and pants.
Oh, Mitch would do it. You know he would.
Yeah, for sure.
Mitch would try to find a way to license everybody from that movie and do the most legally ambiguous versions of them you could possibly do.
Yeah.
It would be fucking hilarious. Everybody, Tiny Lister, but he would be like Z Gangster on the carding, or just Z.
He'd be like
I need
um
this to happen.
he'd be like
I need
Zebo
it.
Gang or something.
Oh yeah, Zebo. Yeah, God, God bless Tiny Lister. He couldn't do the wrestling thing to save his fucking life, but he was. Have you ever seen the thing on Hulkamania 4 when they do the No Holds Barred featurette, and he implies he's going to kill Hulk Hogan and then he's going to come kill all the Hulkamaniacs?
No, but that's cool.
He's like, I feel sorry for all y'all little kids because when I'm through with Hulk, I'm coming to get you. Like, or I'm gonna get you or some shit. Like, goddamn, man. Could have
That
done a
would
second take that was a little less threatening there, buddy.
No, that's awesome.
Um, I saw the Epic was on the 3POA podcast, but I did not listen because I kind of can't stand the two co-hosts.
I haven't listened to that in a long time.
Has anybody summarized any of the the Q&A?
Not that I've seen it. I have to check wrestling figs.
You might have to take one for the team because I'm curious if they said anything about like Series 5 or the Galoobs or whatever.
Yeah, it would be nice to get an update on those.
It would be nice to get an update on goddamn Vader.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I know they used the picture from 96 WWF of Vader. For me, somebody needs to do the red triangle with like the purple outline from like 95, like right at the end of his WCW run.
Yeah, I'm sort of sick of the same like Vader time figure gear and everything.
And also, I would do a deluxe edition or whatever they call those, where he has like the swappable arms with no gloves. I'd have a swappable head with no mask, so it could double as UWFI Vader.
Yeah.
Fear no man, feel no pain, etc., etc. Um, there's not like really anything else that's been. San Diego Comic Con Swerve hit the Jazzwares vault and sold out in like no time at all.
Mm.
It kind of sucks. Um,
There was no
The
recap of the
figure's
plot
really
line.
good. Well, which is crazy because it feels like wrestling figs would be the one place to find it.
Yeah, especially that chair shot dude would be posting like a big write up, you'd think.
God, that guy's such a fucking weirdo. Remember when he was on Wrestling Fig saying like, oh, they it was something with like the Mike Awesome picture, like he doesn't have the rights, and that's to the picture, so that's why they changed the belt. And then he was on like Wrestling Figs in the major group complaining that like, yeah, Zombie canceled my orders, and it's like we talked about it at the time. Actually, I remember, and it's like you're literally just fucking saying insane shit. I would cancel your
Yeah.
fucking orders too. I don't need your business that badly if I'm him, honestly. That guy's so fuck, dude. I remember one time I mentioned like the Brian Myers gear, the Powertown one was like Jushin Liger inspired, right?
Yep.
He was like, when did Liger wear anything that looked like that? And I was like, Battle Formation '96, also a Nitro against Dean Malenko. This motherfucker's like, well, that gear looks more black and silver than black and white. And I'm like, take a look at the fucking pattern and tell me what the fuck that is, then, bud. Like, what the fuck, man? Wrestling Figs is home to some really like special kinds of like stupid motherfuckers that actually think they're smart. Because
Yeah,
golly,
it's a strange place. Did you see the Bull Nakano prototype on
oh,
KWK?
KWK.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. It looks good, like from the sculpt.
Yeah, it looks
Like,
really good. It's just like with him it's like so hit and miss because you like see that and you're like, "Oh, that looks pretty good." And I feel like we've seen stuff for them recently. It's like, ugh.
yeah, the Orient
The Orient
Express, which
Express, yeah.
I understand that like it's probably just like their early painted prototypes, or worse yet, their renders. Those do not look great.
I
The
think
Paul
the
Diamond figure especially looks like shit. Pat Tanaka doesn't even look that bad.
Yeah, I think the Tanaka looks alright. The hair on it looks good, like when he would lose his ponytail or whatever during the match. But yeah, the Paul Diamond doesn't look very good.
They were a great team though.
They
Like
were
really,
indeed.
those guys were great.
Yeah.
Pat Tanaka's a fucking asshole.
Gokudo, was that his name again in New Japan?
Maybe.
Something like that. Because he's in KSC Red.
Uh, I don't remember that game's roster off the top of my head.
Yeah, he's in like the I think he's in like the Team 2000 Junior, if I remember correctly. It's another one of those like weird ones where like that's his only licensed appearances in KOC, which like
Yeah, no, he's right there.
you wouldn't think, but yeah, there he is.
Yeah, that absolutely is Pat Tanaka.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my god. So I guess we've hit the part of the show where we just kind of talk about whatever. I have a few things I want to talk about real quick. None of them serious. I don't know why I said in such a foreboding
Yeah, you were
tone.
setting up for something. I was like, oh no.
No, I did get the Inoki 65th anniversary Blu-ray this week, and I have some mixed thoughts. I think I said when we went over the contents of the DVD that discs 2 and 3 were probably going to be heavily clipped, and shock of all shocks, they pretty much are. What I didn't remember was that there are way more complete matches on the original DVD set than there are on this. And I think, you know what, as a matter of fact, you're going to hear like really loud fans because I'm walking into my room, and my room, no matter how cold it is, will always just get really fucking hot. So I keep the fans on in perpetuity. It will eventually burn the house down, but not today. Some of these matches I know overlap with the 60th anniversary set that they did, so I guess I understand like removing them, but also there's a bunch of matches on this that are also on that set. So like the Great Antonio match that got cut, which it's not like a great match or anything, but it's an incredibly funny match. Like that is the greatest example in pro wrestling of fuck around find out you'll ever see. And like there's the Tiger Jeet Singh match from 1974, which is what I've always referred to as the good one. That got cut. and there's some other matches that got cut that like it doesn't really matter to me, but it's like, yeah, when they said the contents were different, they really just meant we're gonna cut a bunch of fucking bullshit out of this set. Having said that, uh, the discs that come after 4 through 7, which are the ones that are advertised as being totally uncut, everything on those last 3 discs, as far as I can tell, is as complete as we have them anyway. The Backlund Inoki 61-minute match, I looked this up thanks to Charles from Wrestling Playlist for having such thorough and comprehensive chronicling of wrestling footage history. That match, we only have about 41 minutes of it. On that Blu-ray, we have 41 minutes of it.
Mm.
Like, matches that are complete. The ones that were clipped or whatever, they're clipped, and that's just kind of how it goes. It's not like the Foreigner box sets they did where, for some reason, we get like 7 minutes of Flair versus Hase when I know goddamn well they have the whole match because I'm pretty sure it was on New Japan World at one point. And all the negative things you can say about Flair and Hase, I'm just giving an example of like, I hadn't seen that match in forever and was like, oh, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing this. And then I load it up and I'm like, oh, fuck me, I guess. Can't have a complete match on here. But overall, I'm happy with the set. The video quality, just to illustrate this point, I think I messaged you about this. Inoki and Jack Briscoe from August 71 is on that, and it's also on the Foreigner box set. I pulled up the match on the Inoki Blu-ray, and I watched like a little bit, like maybe a minute and a half. And then I was like, oh, right, it's on the Foreigner set. So I put the one on the Foreigner set in, and I was like, it was like a baseball bat to the face. Like, Jesus Christ, this looks like shit.
Mm.
And I remembered kind of thinking one of my mutuals when I was on Twitter was smoking crack when he got the set and was like, no, this honestly looks like ass. I was sitting there like, when Jack Briscoe's standing in the ring with his jacket on, you can read Briscoe clearly on the new Inoki Blu-ray. On that set, it's just a mash of like white pixels on the back of his red jacket. It looks so fucking bad.
Why that
And
is?
like,
Does like compression, or did they find like another source or something?
compression, and also they used single layer discs instead of Blu-ray, dual layer
Right.
Blu-ray. That's my guess, at least. That's why that set looks so unimpressive by comparison. The up close shots, like I watched Inoki and Backlund last night, and the amount of detail you see like in Backlund's hair on like up close shots is like crazy for something that's like almost 50 years old footage wise.
Yeah.
Like whatever digital remaster entails for this set, it doesn't look, you know how like some of the AI upscaled stuff looks like somebody just smeared some shit on the camera lens? It doesn't look like that. It looks a bit better than that. So not super happy that it was $400, but $400 now versus almost $1,000 when the original DVD came out. I'll take it. Shout outs to the toy department for financing that purchase, because I wasn't doing that with what I get paid weekly, for fuck's sake. But yeah, just the first thing I did was I watched Inoki and Sakaguchi versus Thez and Karl Gotch. Mom was in the room, and I don't think she'd ever seen Karl Gotch, and she just couldn't get over the way Karl Gotch moved around the ring, like the way he did counters and stuff. That was the highlight of the match, honestly, is like just how my mom reacted to seeing Karl Gotch. That's also just a fucking great match. And then I watched the first 2 falls of Inoki and Billy Robinson because my friend who I watched it with thought the match was over because she was like an hour something into the video file. And I was like, I'm pretty sure there's a third fall. And then I was like, oh, whatever. I went to bed and I woke up and I'm like, no, 100% there is a third fall. And I watched the third fall the next morning. And that might be the best match ever. It's so fucking good. Billy Robinson was the goddamn best. That guy was so fucking good. I did watch a Hogan match. I watched him and Inoki from the 83 IWGP, the final. Because I was looking, not that I look up match reviews, but sometimes I have a hard time of, like, I can remember dates, but I can't remember the content of the match sometimes. So it's helpful for me to go and look at, like, is this the good one? Like, is this the one I'm remembering? Or is this the one that's, like, not as good and the one from the year before is better? And I was just like, you know what? I'm curious what the guys on Pro Wrestling Only had to say about this match. And Jetlag mentioned like this is Inoki and Hogan doing Muga, and I was like, I have no memory of that match being mat wrestling focused or anything like Muga, so I probably should go check this out. And fucking lo and behold, it was. And it's funny because people will do the like Hogan work different in Japan, and it's him doing the fucking rolling armbar he did in WCW.
Yeah.
It's never clips of him and Inoki grappling where you see like, no, Hulk actually could do that. Like Hulk could wrestle. It wasn't great, but he could actually do the fucking and probably being in the ring with Inoki helps because he doesn't work like that with Fujinami at all. But I also suspect if you're working with Inoki, you're gonna work his match. It doesn't matter.
How many Veda matches are on there?
They're in full. There's the one from '96.
Okay, yeah, great match.
Yeah, that match rocks. It's also on the 60th set, and those are both on dual layer discs. I'm kind of curious to compare the two because the 60th set is not billed as a digital remaster. So would that look different than the 65th?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm kind of curious now. But yeah, I'm happy with it. Not happy with the price, but that's just shit happens. That's how it is with Japanese physical media. Whatever. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about, I guess people are saying he's not necessarily a reliable source, but there was a YouTuber, Planet CHH, I think. He did a live stream about the Nightmare on Elm Street 4K Blu-ray box set, which I had pre-ordered. And momentarily, I'm gonna expose myself as a sicko when it comes to those movies too. He had asked a source at Warner Brothers for like all the like questions we would want to know, like, are we getting the steelbooks in the US? Are they including the regular Blu-rays with the US set, or is that just for Europe? And the guy he was getting the news from called him during the live stream. And it was a fascinating look at a WB employee's frustration with how the home video department was being run. Because he talked about how there were movies they put out that did not have like the original artwork because the thought process from the top was like, well, if a younger person sees it in a store and it's a poster, they're going to think it's a shitty old movie. But if they see this photoshopped image that looks more contemporary, they might buy it, which like, what the fuck kind of logic is that?
They do that shit for everything.
And apparently it got explained to them like, no, you got to use like the fucking original artwork for this shit. And I guess comparisons to some of the boutique labels were brought up, like, look at what Second Sight does with their shit and look at how much money they make off of their shit. If we start doing a little bit of what these companies are doing, people won't think we fucking suck anymore. And apparently, like, enough of that being thrown the way of the higher ups worked. Because they greenlit the 4K box set having the poster artwork for the movies for the Nightmare set. And they also greenlit the standard set using the image that's on one side of the 1999 DVD set. Both decisions were basically made because somebody was like, listen, people love that old DVD set. Why don't we use part of that cover for the standard, and then for the steelbook set, why don't we give them the original poster artwork like the DVD set from 99? They also mentioned, have you ever seen Never Sleep Again, the documentary that came out like 12, 13 years ago?
No.
Apparently the higher ups at Warner Brothers didn't think that could be like should be included because they didn't know it existed.
Oh, okay.
So like all of that stuff from like the directors that they brought in and stuff, they didn't record any new commentaries. What they basically did was they sat down and filmed their own version of Never Sleep Again because the higher ups were just like, oh, we didn't know that existed. Which is
interesting.
Yeah. And apparently like they've fixed the color timing on all of the movies they mentioned. And I don't think this is necessarily a negative for the movie I'm about to mention, but they mentioned how high the contrast was for like Nightmare 4 on the DVD box set, but also like with the Blu-ray how fucking dark everything was. And like it's neither of those things now. So I'm very curious to see how that looks, because to me, the way the DVD version looks is just the way the movie looks. Apparently Freddy's dead. They improved the 3D. You also get a pair of 3D glasses, so we're gonna see how that works. Um, it seems like a lot of care and attention went into this set, and also Paramount are apparently watching very, very closely, because the idea is if this Nightmare set does well, they're gonna release Friday 1 through 4 on 4K, or Friday 1 through 8 on 4K.
Of course,
Because
yeah.
Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, and Freddy versus Jason, and I think even the remake are all new line. And also Arrow's doing 4Ks of, they did Jason Goes to Hell, they did Jason X, and I think they did Friday '09. So like everybody's thinking Freddy versus Jason is next. And the guy from Warner Brothers basically said that's not included with this box set because Warner Brothers doesn't give a shit about that movie, despite it made, you know, a boatload of fucking money at the box office. And there's a greater chance that in like a year or two, Arrow will put that out as a 4K. So it's interesting to see kind of the philosophies. Like the Blu-rays included in the UK because Blu-ray is still a big format in the UK, whereas 4K Blu-rays are outselling regular Blu-rays in the US, which feels like something that's not true, but I actually 100% believe it, because you see the enthusiasm for everything being released on 4K.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of the American physical media collectors I see talking about stuff, not mostly on Blu-ray.com, but like they want things on 4K. They want new scans. That WB employee said like that new Terminator 1 and 2 pack, they licensed the famously shitty looking Terminator 2 disc from Lionsgate. And I know a lot of people on the Blu-ray.com forum were not happy to hear that. That's part of the reason they think the guy wasn't actually from Warner Brothers, because they want to believe like we're getting a new scan of that movie. And that would be great, because one of the first 4K Blu-rays I actually got was that version of T2, and I was not impressed with how that looked compared to the Blu-ray that came in the same package.
Yeah, I have the I think it's the same one. It came with a vinyl of the soundtrack. It was like a German version or something, but I think it's the same one. I think it's the only one that's been released on 4K, right?
I think in Europe they might have gotten a different version, because that
Oh, okay.
happens with some of this stuff.
Like Studio Canal, maybe. I think that's
Oh no, actually, yeah, that is the one. That is the one,
okay.
because that
Yeah,
Studio Canal got mentioned specifically. Um, Also, they asked about Freddy's Nightmares, and basically the production partners on the show, like it's a whole just legal shit show. But they
of
also
course.
mentioned that show is streaming on Plex. I've been watching a bunch of episodes of that. Just had it on his background. It was actually Archive has the whole series, and
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
lie to you, it's on my external hard drive, and it may or may not have been what I fell asleep to last night.
It's a shame
Great
so much
television
is like,
show.
what is it with Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, where like there's a bunch of like legal bullshit stopping things from being released? It seems like that stuff really gets caught up with like horror films.
It's like people signing over the rights, and then like the whole copyright law of like life of the creator plus X amount of years.
It's I don't know about you, but it feels real weird when you see like at Comic-Con they were like, here's a new Jason short film, and like here's what the Jason mask is gonna look like, and it's the Jason verse, and I'm just like, this is weird, you know?
And there's the fucking prequel series coming to Peacock next year.
Yeah.
So allegedly the reason why Nightmare doesn't have, like, Warner Brothers can put out like old Nightmare stuff.
Mhm.
The reason I guess we can't get a new movie is the Craven estate wants a shit ton of money to license it,
Yeah, I I see that, yeah.
which kind of sort of feels like a way to say fuck you to Warner Brothers.
Probably.
And it kind of feels like they've missed the moment anyway.
Yeah, I mean, who would you even get to play the role at this point?
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, but also like remember a couple of years ago when Terrifier 2 got really hot, and it seemed like we might have like a little like slasher boom on our hands, and now like that shit's really just died off.
There was that one I wanted to see where it was like from the perspective of the killer, where it was like the trailer that showed was like over the shoulder, like at a game or something. I thought it seemed interesting. I can't remember what it was called, but I did read recently that they're already making a sequel to that. Um, well, I don't know if the slasher boom is it feels weakened, but I mean you've still got like another Scream coming out, and I Know What You Did Last Summer just came out, right?
I heard people had an issue with how Jennifer Love Hewitt looked, and I saw a picture of her, and I was like, she looks perfectly fine.
Yeah, people are strange. What can you say?
Like taking a look at her and saying like objectively that is not an attractive human being is so weird to me.
It's the internet, dude. People say the craziest shit.
Yeah, and so I do have the pre-order on Amazon for the steel books, but this is the sicko part. I have a weird paranoia about steelbooks eventually rubbing together and the paint coming off, like the printing.
Right.
So I went onto a website called Groove, spelled like Gruv, not to be
Oh
confused with
yeah.
Bruv, which is Will Ospreay's catchphrase.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They've got a Canadian store they do like 4K deals and stuff.
And there was a deal for like get 20% off your first order. Well, they had the standard set, which has again the part of the box art from the 99 DVD set. And I was like, this is the way I'm going to do it. Like if I'm, and also with the 4K set, the original pressing being limited to 4,000 allegedly worldwide, I kind of don't want to open that anyway.
Yeah.
So I grabbed a copy of the standard set and very seriously contemplated requesting September 30th and October 1st off just to sit down and binge watch all of that shit. Because I still haven't seen the 4K of Nightmare 1 that came out last year, and apparently that thing's like amazing. And also, the UK exclusive that had the original artwork apparently sold so well that they over ordered a second printing of it, and that shit's just like sitting in a warehouse. Um, but also, the original artwork on the UK one selling so well convinced them that, like, we probably should do the original artwork on the steelbook set. So, you know, I'm gonna have two different Nightmare on Elm Street 4K sets come early October. But also, if there's any series of movies I'm gonna double dip that egregiously on, it's probably gonna be these. They're my favorite horror movies ever. There's like 4 movies in this series alone that I would put near the top of my favorite movies ever, flat out.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, God bless Robert Englund. That was all my extra bullshit, I think.
I was just looking at Twitter. I guess there's a lot of Spider-Man sad videos and pictures and stuff because he was out and about for the new movie.
Oh,
The suit
there were a
looks
ton
pretty.
of new DC compacts. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say that the suit looks pretty cool.
It does, yeah.
That sounds like an interesting movie when you've got like Punisher in it and Hulk. I mean, we'll see what it turns out like.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I'll
I'm
mention is
skeptical about.
unrelated, but I guess Hayabusa and Masato Tanaka had a match today, and it was
It went 30.
what's that?
It went 30.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, wow. Apparently it was a really good match. It was Hayabusa's mask against Masato Tanaka's 0-1 career, and yeah, they drew, went 30 minutes. So we'll see if
And on
that.
the undercard, there was a match that was a 20-minute draw too. Because why not?
Geez, we'll see if that match turns up anyway. It's 0-1, so probably not.
Maybe on Samurai, but I'm not. I wouldn't
Maybe
hold my breath.
no. But you're right, they did show off a bunch of compact collection stuff recently.
Yeah, there's a ton. So let me go try to get the list. So last we talked, they had announced, was it Dark Knight Returns, White Knight, and there was a Nightwing book that I had not seen because it was in a Penguin Random House listing and not part of, you know, like the actual what do I want to say, announcement for the two Batman books. And then a few days ago, it came out that we're getting compacts for Injustice, Gods Among Us Year One, which I don't fucking understand why. Batman the Red Hood, Under the Red Hood, Superman Red Sun, which Green Arrow Year One, Batgirl of Burnside, and the one I was honestly the most excited about, Gotham Central by Ed Brubaker.
Mhm.
Ed Brubaker might be my favorite writer, flat out. I've read a lot of his shit, and none of it rates any lower than really fucking good. And Gotham Central, just going by the cover and knowing nothing about it, looks like a cop book. And Brubaker does crime books really well. It's like the thing he does. So I'm excited for that. Obviously excited for Dark Knight Returns. That Nightwing book's apparently really good. The Flash Rebirth book is apparently really good too. So I'm looking forward to those. But there's a couple of things that I don't want to read. The Red Sun book, Injustice, I'm not going to touch. I don't care. The rest of it I'll probably grab.
I think I'll still probably grab anything. I mean, for the price that they are, it's why not, you know?
Yeah, it's just like I have so much stuff that I've bought that I haven't read, and I don't
Yeah.
want to keep buying stuff that I don't have the time or the attention span for. And then I looked it up, and there's a new Marvel Premiere Collection book that got announced via pre-order solicitations, and it's the fucking Visions by Tom King. And just to
All
put this
right.
in perspective, by the time this book comes out, we're going to be a year into this Marvel Premiere Collection line. Stick with me here. Daredevil, Black Panther, Captain America, The Fantastic Four, Civil War, Old Man Logan, Hawkeye, The Visions. Nowhere in what I just said did you hear Spider-Man, Thor, fucking regular Wolverine, the X-Men, the Avengers, even. But what I thought was interesting is the Visions doesn't actually mention WandaVision or anything MCU related, at least in the PRH synopsis. So maybe we're shedding the fucking doing things that are MCU adjacent thing, but also at the same time, where the fuck are the X-Men? Where's Spider-Man?
They've got that Vision Quest show coming out though, right?
Do they? I don't know.
I've never liked Vision as a character in the MCU, so I don't really care. But I think pretty sure there's a Vision show being made.
I've never liked anything I've read with him, so
What's the DC collection called again? You know, not the compact, but the other one, because I think they announced a few new more of those too.
oh, there's a shit ton of finest books coming as well. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
I like those. I like that DC finally just nutted up and decided to do their own version of the Epic collections. I didn't see any like they're very interesting with what they pick for those. A lot of it is like, oh, that's really cool. If InStock does like a big sale, I'll buy it. But I didn't see anything in the recently announced stuff that I was like, I didn't have the same reaction to it as I did like Dark Knight getting a compact. Like, fuck yeah, that's long overdue at this point.
Yeah.
Or like when they revealed Arkham Asylum was replacing whatever the fuck the Neil Gaiman book Death.
Mhm.
Like when that got announced, I was like, fuck yes, finally I can read Arkham Asylum again because I have my copy that I got in high school, and it's a little beat up because I might have read that book a lot. The artwork is fucking incredible, and Grant Morrison's one of the best writers in the history of comics. Apparently, there were some other things in the Penguin Random House like solicitations or whatever. I didn't do a deep dive on them because like last week was Comic Con, and sensory overload was a real thing, especially being off from work the whole week and basically doing nothing but looking at the updates. And this week it was like back to reality. I worked and just kind of tried to stay sane and also tried not to melt given how just ridiculously hot it was for the first half of the week. It also rained every day for the first half of the week, like really fucking hard, which I appreciate. I'd rather it
We
rain.
Yeah, we had some rain, but it was mostly just like boiling hot, and it sucks. You can't sleep. You know, it's so hot. You have trouble getting to sleep. You wake up, you're all sweaty. It's gross. I hate it.
So on the Observer site, it says WWE files trademark for potential Seth Rollins stable name. And I honestly, when I opened this up, expected to see Seth Riders, but no, it's the Vision.
All right.
I don't.
Couldn't go with the Visionaries because that was like Rick Martel's Survivor Series name at like 1990.
Wasn't somebody in the WWE called the? Wasn't Rollins called the Visionary at one point?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, because the Visionaries was the tag team
Yeah,
name at Survivor Series. Yeah. Who gives a shit? The Vision. Give me a break. You know what my vision is? Turning off the TV when WWE comes on.
yeah, yeah.
I saw that card
I
last
saw
night. And
the.
It's like that's the lineup. Gross. Like I could have watched it for free, and I was like, I don't even want to watch it.
Yeah, no, I saw like the quotes from the Cena and Cody thing on SmackDown,
Ugh,
and like he's just randomly a good guy now. Okay,
it's probably a swerve.
yeah. Either he's gonna do some bullshit, or they're actually gonna pull the trigger on the Cody heel turn. Which you might as well do it at this point. You've killed any chance you have of Cody ever being a big draw for you again, like the way that he was.
It all
And
sucks. I
like,
don't. I couldn't be
yeah,
less interested in that product right now.
yeah, whatever. Who
It feels
fucking
like there would
cares?
be so many people that would be much better in a different environment.
Yeah, but Stockholm syndrome is a real thing, and also like just for perception's sake, I guess people might think like this is the best place to be, but yeah.
But I look at someone too like Braun Breaker, and I'm just like, God, I wish that dude was somewhere else. You know?
Yeah, but also there comes with it the thing of like you get trained to work that way, going somewhere else is like a culture shock, which
Mm.
genuinely was part of the problem with Miro and AEW.
True, but there's
He
also
didn't
like,
mesh at all.
yeah, there's people that can adapt and rise above it, and I think with his genes, and also considering I mean, the way he wrestles with like his uh his dad and his uncle, I think he would be much better in a different environment.
Maybe. I just I have great skepticism for anybody brought up in that system. Because you really are just taught to run your spots and find the hard cam. You're not
Mm.
taught to actually work.
Yeah,
And
I don't I don't see the appeal of WWE right now at all. I mean, I guess they're still doing well. I don't know. They seem to have dipped a bit. I know there was a lot of topping at night one last night.
yeah, I would like for them to go down and AEW to like do better.
Hmm.
And then I see the estimated ticket sales for Wednesday in Cleveland, and it's like back to reality.
Yeah.
I'll say this: I did not like that Moxley and Hangman match on Wednesday. I thought doing what they did with the Death Riders still interfering and it backfiring, and like the stupidest heels in the world because Marina just hangs out there long enough to get caught.
Yeah,
And
I thought TV for the past few weeks on Dynamite hasn't been great. I mean, really since after the pay per view. Not that it's been necessarily bad. It's just like just sort of there. And I'm what's forbidden about this Forbidden Door? You know, it's such a weird thing to do because you've got New Japan coming off G1. You've got Stardom when that happens. If like we're gonna have any of them involved, it's like the finals of the 5-star Grand Prix. And you look at the matches that are announced, and it's all AEW. So it's like, what? Where's this Forbidden Door stuff?
MJF's probably going to defend the. Didn't they shoot an angle with like Zandokan or somebody fucking challenging MJF?
Yeah, I think so.
It's also worth noting, I think, this year on the Forbidden Door poster, it's only AEW and New Japan.
That's what it always is, right?
I thought last year they had CMLL on the graphic.
I think that
I
was just
actually
for
am probably
the second night of Wrestle Kingdom, whatever it was called again.
Dynasty.
Yeah,
I get that they had to do a pay per view for Oh yeah, no, it was just the AEW and New Japan logos. I don't know why I thought. Oh, because they booked Hechicero on that show, probably. But I don't know why you wouldn't just do All Out in London
yeah. I mean,
and
if you're
then
not, if they're
give
not gonna have
Toronto
all in,
something different.
yeah, if they're not gonna have all in, then it kind of makes sense for them to have all out. Uh,
Yeah,
but again, too, I just think it's the wrong time of year when you've got New Japan finishing up the G1 and Stardom finishing up their tournament. It just seems very awkward to try and do something of other companies when they don't seem in the best position to work with somebody else at the time. It just feels odd.
yeah. I don't. I mean, it's an event they do every year, and they deliberately moved it so they had more time to build All In, which was the right decision. I just Forbidden Door in 2022 meant a lot. In 2023, it meant a lot because you had really big interpromotional matches. Last year's show did not feel like a big deal. It felt like an AEW pay per view that had some guest appearances as opposed to the pay per view kind of being centered around it. Because, like, you look at 22 and it was basically like, hey, here's a whole card of AEW versus New Japan. And in
Yeah.
2023, it was like, here's here's Bryan versus Okada and the rematch of the Omega Osprey match in the Tokyo Dome. And then, like Jungle Boy versus fucking Sonata and MJF versus Tanahashi are not like those weren't like gigantic matches, but still kept the theme.
Hmm.
And then last year it feels like they just kind of threw a lot of that away. And at that point, like they have all of those like pay-per-view names trademarked. Just swap one of those in.
Yeah.
I still think like World's End should be Winter is Coming, but I also like the blue and gold theming for World's End, and I also like the Winter is Coming for a few years was like a signature episode of Dynamite where you were basically guaranteed something big, and then
Right.
last year it kind of wasn't that at all. Well, no, they had the T1 going on, so yeah.
We'll see
But I
what
don't
this
even know what's announced for Forbidden Door beyond
God
Swerve Kata.
and Tony and Athena and
Oh right, yes,
yeah.
and the Hurt Syndicate versus whoever wins the tournament, and Tanahashi was also apparently announced for the show.
Yeah, because they announced a few months ago it would be Tanahashi's last appearance in the UK.
Well, hopefully they get somebody that can carry the rotting husk of Tanahashi to a good match.
I mean, they
Because
could do a tag
I'm not
match.
convinced. Yeah, yeah, but like, what do you do that would like? Do you fucking team him with Okada? Does Okada give a shit about working with people from New Japan?
Why do I feel like Tanahashi's going to be involved with Edge for some reason?
That would be really funny.
Tanahashi, Edge, and Christian against the Patriarchy. and somebody.
Luchasaurus comes back.
Yeah, I could maybe.
Something like that. Yeah. I'm curious to see what they announce for the 2 shows in Cincinnati that I have tickets to, because I bought the tickets and I want to go, but I also don't want to leave my house
I saw
unless I
that
have to.
Mercedes was like responding to a bunch of people that had belts on. She was asking like who she should face, and she challenged May Segura, and she accepted it. But that seems like a weird match for Forbidden Door because it's not like May is like a Stardom talent or anything. She's the gotcha move to the Emi Sakura promotion thing. So it
Isn't
just seems
that
like
Kaori Oniyama?
what's that?
I know Kaori Oniyama's involved in Gato Mode, or was.
I don't know what's the one of that Emi Sakura does in the little room.
Oh, that's
I've
Gato Move, yeah.
I've seen
Or is it
this stuff, but it's like I don't know the ins and outs of it. But
Choco Pro or whatever now, right? So I
Choco
don't think it's
Pro,
actually Gato Move.
yeah. So she's in there. So that just seems like a weird one to do. I don't know if they would actually do that at Forbidden Door or not, but I I don't know. I think I've said it before, but like I think if you're gonna bring anyone over from Stardom, like the obvious answer is Saya Kamatani, but she's most likely going to be involved in the 5-star finals, so I don't even think she'd be available. So I don't know if anyone from Stardom will be coming over. They may rely on Momo Watanabe again, or maybe Azumi. Like they might bring one of them over and not have them on that finals card. I don't know.
Maybe. It's
Actually,
it's going to be interesting to see how that card shakes out.
they could do a rematch between Azumi and Mercedes for the strong title, considering she lost it in a triple threat with Mina. So maybe that's the direction they go in. I don't know. We'll see.
It's probably about time for Mercedes to start dropping some of those belts.
I did. I just find the fake outrage so funny. It's like people complaining that she won a title in Poland, and it's like, oh my god, poor Ivana Putski who can't win the women's title now. Like you don't give a shit about Poland women's wrestling. Just complaining that
No,
she
they
hasn't won a
don't.
title. And like
It's a combination of racism and she left WWE.
yeah, it's does it really bother you that much that she won some random title in the middle of whatever European country? No, come on.
Yeah, people are fucking stupid. Oh, I got Ninja Gaiden Ragebound
Oh, that's right.
this
Yeah.
week. That game rocks. There's one boss in particular that is kicking my ass, and I'm not happy about it. But that game is great. Also, the same day, probably unrelated, haha, except not really. They dropped the Shinobi Art of Vengeance demo,
Mm-hmm.
and it is fascinating to me that we've got two 2D revivals of classic Japanese ninja games being developed by European devs, and they're like completely different flavors in terms of gameplay. Shinobi's much more combo focused, which makes sense. Lizard Cube developed Streets of Rage 4, which is a fantastic game. I like the way that game feels. It also feels like a modern version of like Revenge of Shinobi and Shinobi 3. Ninja Gaiden is very much like, hey, these games are hard as shit, right?
Mm.
But also, hey, you like Blasphemous, right? And like the thing I noticed about the bosses I was dying against multiple times is like there was like a satisfying click when everything fell into place. And I was like, no, I know how to do this now, and I would just dust them the next time. Uh Super fun game. Combat's very, very like responsive, rewarding, violent, cathartic. Everybody dies in one shot. Well, not everybody. Most guys die in one shot. Unlike Shinobi, where again more combo focused. I love the pixel art. It really does look like a high def version of like what I think a Sega Genesis game or a Sega Saturn 2D game might look like now.
Mm-hmm.
because that's what that studio does with like Blasphemous as well, like just amazing artwork. And like my two favorite things I've gotten hands on this year are those two games. Like the smaller games are the games I'm more interested in. They're also cheaper, which helps. But I'm tired of this like third person shit that all looks the same, or these FPS like games or just first person games in general. Like nobody's doing anything that feels fresh, and like Ninja Gaiden Ragebound feels super fresh to me. Shinobi feels super fresh. I cannot fucking wait to play Marvel Cosmic Invasion whenever that comes out, because that game looks amazing too. Um, I couldn't give two shits about like cutting edge graphics or whatever. But also, did you see the specs for the PlayStation 6 and the PlayStation handheld leaked?
I heard they were out there, but like I didn't read them. No.
So apparently, the PlayStation handheld's not going to launch until late 27, early 28. And I
Okay.
think it's really funny that it's being said right now, like it's going to be stronger than the Xbox Ally X, which comes out this year. Like you don't think within 2 years
Big.
Microsoft and Asus are going to drop another one.
Yeah.
Um, but it's apparently like half as powerful as a PS5, but like has greater capacity for ray tracing. Which, ooh boy, ray tracing, I don't give a fuck.
What the hell are we doing
Um,
here?
yeah, apparently. So there's an update coming for PS5, or it's already out, that allows for like a low power mode in like compatible games, and that's apparently because they're trying to future proof the PS5 library for this handheld. So it's going to be very interesting to see one pricing, because this has to compete, I would think, more with the Switch than the Xbox Ally, because
Yeah, I would
you're
agree.
not entering the handheld like gaming PC space. This is a PlayStation handheld, so I'm like, it's got to go like head to head with the Switch too, you'd imagine. And so what does competitive pricing look like after a few years of these tariffs? What does anything look like in a few years?
You see, Zelda went up from like 90 to 100 in Canada just like recently.
I saw
Uh,
they were raising the price on Switch One hardware. Motherfucker, that is an 8-year-old system.
Nintendo's really fucked up with all this shit because like their prices are just like out of control.
You know what this kind of sort of reminds me of? Have you ever seen any of the American news stories about Nintendo having a monopoly on the video game industry from the early 90s? And it's like, oh, the FTC found them guilty of price fixing because like
Mm,
Nintendo games would just never drop in price.
yep.
Like, oh, yeah, we're fucking time's a flat circle. 35 fucking years later, here we are again. Obviously, much worse economy, different. Like, I wouldn't argue they have a monopoly now. The PlayStation 5 is apparently doing like super fucking well. But like, they really are just able to be like, yep, we're gonna raise our prices on shit and you can't do anything because we're Nintendo. At what
Yeah.
point do people just start importing games from Japan? Because the $800 minimum still exists on media from Japan.
Hmm. Yeah,
So in theory, just
it's
import a Japanese Switch too. Who gives a fuck?
it's awful. They're cutting themselves off because like nobody's gonna want to pay like $100 per game. It's fucking crazy. Like, and we're not
No,
talking about new games, right? They're just like the Switch 2 updates for like Zelda and stuff are like ridiculously priced. Like you've got to be kidding me. It's like I don't want to pay like $100 for the new Donkey Kong. You know, and it used to be like
I've
you get
heard
the
that game is
special edition.
amazing though. I will say that.
I I played a bit of it at the expo a few weeks ago, but I didn't know what I was doing, so I didn't get a good feel on it. But like it used to be like you'd get the special edition or whatever for $100, and now it's just a standard game price, and it's just fucking crazy. Like
Well,
people don't have
remember all the rumors about GTA? The next
yeah,
GTA was going to launch at 99.99 for the standard version.
people don't have more money now. They probably have less. So what are we doing?
Especially with inflation. Yeah, absolutely. And
I,
like,
I feel like I'm getting priced out of gaming. Like I bought a Switch 2 and I'm still trying to pay it off, and it's like I bought it thinking like I would have all these new Nintendo games that I haven't experienced, and I haven't really played Nintendo games for a long time. And I'm looking at these prices, and I'm just like, I can't afford it. I'm borrowing my nephew's copy of Paper Mario for the Switch, and I bought Odyssey because that was on sale. That was actually on sale for a good price, but like, which was surprising because it's a Nintendo game. But like all of this new stuff, I'm just like, I just cannot do it. Even if I did have the money, I don't think I'd want to do it because it's just too much.
It's why, like, I'm gonna have to buy a PS5 soon for the Blu-rays, the Nightmare 4Ks, and also, Metal Gear Solid Delta comes out at the end of next month, and I feel like a real dumbass for buying the Osprey figures and the Briscoes from the Jazzwares Vault. I got the Briscoes, by the way; they're great. But like, I really wanted those, and I was thinking like I can just buy a 4K Blu-ray player. So I have one pulled up on Best Buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember like a year ago the saga of me ordering a 4K player that would not play 4K discs from Best Buy?
I
Same
remember
fucking
that,
one.
yeah. Oh, nice.
And then I Googled it just to be like, well, if I buy it again, is this going to happen? Apparently, I might have just fucking put the HDMI in the wrong port on the back, but I only remember there being one HDMI port.
Yeah.
And like, well, like apparently you have to have a compatible cable, and also you go on like the 4K Blu-ray Reddit, and people are like, yeah, Panasonic's quality has gone to shit the last few years. There are people just genuinely recommending go buy a PS5. It's a much more sturdy, reliable Blu-ray player than a Panasonic, and I'm just like, fuck me, I guess.
Yeah, I know we've
Could
talked
have had
about it
it all.
before, but like, I would get a nice PC with a 4K player, and then all those cheap games you get on Steam and shit, like you can play that on the computer. You can play ones that you can't play on the Steam Deck, and if there is any that are compatible with Steam Deck, like you can play them on the PC and then just take the same save on your Steam Deck.
It's
I
a
just
great idea, but like building a PC with a 4K Blu-ray drive is probably in the short term more expensive than just buying a PS5.
Yeah, I got a not a 4K, but I just got a cheap Blu-ray drive for my PC, just so I could burn Blu-rays, and it works perfectly fine. So I was happy with that because I've never had like a Blu-ray drive for a PC before. I've only had like the consoles. But
Right.
yeah, it's. I have my PS5 and it's sitting here. I haven't touched it in months.
I'll take it.
So
No, I'm kidding.
whenever I think about consoles now, I'm just like, oh god, I don't want to bother with them. I do need
My
to play
thing
it
now is like
sometime.
I'm much more interested in handhelds. Like that PlayStation handheld, if it's fully compatible with the PS5 and PS4 library, and it's ostensibly priced, I could jump in on that. But I like an actual dedicated, because have you heard what the rumor is on the PS6 console pricing?
No.
It's very interesting. We don't have a rumor on the handheld, but apparently the PS6 console wise may be like $800 for the base model. Fuck
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Fuck that. If for $800, that thing better have like an 8K Blu-ray player. I do not give a fuck that 8K technology is not there and we don't have 8K Blu-rays yet. That shit better be able to make me a fucking pizza for $800. That shit better be able to do my taxes. That shit
Would
better be able to like fucking, like the hologram gimmick that R2D2 was doing
uh-huh.
in Star Wars. It needs to be able to do that, but with like Roddy Piper, so I can just talk to Roddy Piper whenever I want. It
Um
needs to let me go back in time and correct not going into the gifted class in third grade. Um, it also should let me go back in time and tell Adrian Adonis, listen, don't get in that fucking van. Just fly home, please, God. For the love of God. We need you in Jim Crockett Promotions teaming with Dick Murdoch. Please just go home.
I think the next generation of consoles are going to struggle the same this generation has. Like
As far as software, absolutely.
when there's no other than these companies wanting a movie, there's no fucking point releasing another console. You're not doing that much innovations in regards to like technology and graphics, which is,
Agreed.
the main thing that people talk about because everyone's visual, that's what we see. There's not
That
that much of a
generational leap is not happening.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, other than the companies wanted to make money and promoting them as like, oh, look, it's got this, it's got that. The technology is really not there. So fuck it. I don't want to spend any
They
more
made
money on these
such a big
consoles.
deal about like ray tracing this console generation. Maybe they should go like invent hoe tracing or something, bro.
It's made nothing. Means nothing, right? Ray tracing hasn't like you're right. They did make a huge deal out of it when the PS5
It's
came out.
cool
You
to
know,
have like the reflections in Spider-Man
right?
2, you know? Like
Yeah.
the accurate reflections and like lighting and stuff, but like I played Spider-Man on PS4 just fine without any of that. I played Spider-Man 2 on the PS2. Like,
Mm-hmm.
does it make things look nicer? Yes, but like, do you? You're old enough to remember this. Like, do you remember the first time you saw a fucking PlayStation game in a magazine? Much less when you saw it in motion for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, same with the N64. And then like when you got used to that for a few years, and the first time you see a PS2 game, and it's like, holy shit, look at that.
Yeah. It was
And
crazy.
then like the early PS3 and 360 trailers for stuff. Like that first Gears of War trailer, like fucking that's a video game. And then
Yeah.
like the PS4 has some really nice looking stuff. Like I genuinely think God of War 2018 is like a great looking game. But the further you get into that console generation, the more it's about needs to be 1080p and 60 FPS instead of 1080p, maybe a stable 30, and the fucking game's actually fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
No.
the thing now. It's like performance mode is 1080p 60 fps, and then you can get a quality mode that might get you to 2160 with 30 fps, and that's on the PS5 Pro. Some games can hit 4K 60 fps, don't get me wrong, but like we're here with this right now. In 3 years, 2 years, I'm supposed to drop $800 on a system that, like, okay, the guts are beefier than the PS5, but what the fuck does this mean for actual gameplay?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
It's it's stupid, but like I said, if they give me a handheld that gives me, because I have a lot of games on the PS4, honestly, like a lot. Like I really love that console generation, especially like the first half of it. Um, like if you give me something that'll reliably, like another way to reliably play Fire Pro World, I'll take it. You give me something that'll play like I'm trying to think of another PS4 game I really like that I don't have anywhere else, and I don't want to turn my PS4 on to. Oh, God of War 3 remastered. Like you're going to give me a way to play that portably, like 1080p 60 fps. I'll take it, but
Right.
I have no interest in the $800 box. Like what the fuck do I care, dude?
Yeah. In regards to like Fire Pro World, I've got my PC, I've got Steam Deck, so like I've already got two options to play it there. If it's something that
Right.
if I really care about, then I'm gonna find it on PC or Steam Deck, and most likely it's gonna be cheaper at this point, or if it's gonna be like in some cases free, you know. Um, for me to get a new console would have to be something like an exclusive that I really care about. But the thing is, there's really not exclusives these days. Like everything's everywhere, right? So I just don't see the
Unless
appeal of
it's
getting.
Nintendo.
That's it. And then that's why I bought a Switch too, because Nintendo, I know I'm not going to get those products elsewhere. But with Sony and Microsoft, that guarantee is no longer there. Like, there's a good chance it could end up on PC. So, to me, like the idea of buying a new console, it just seems ridiculous because I can buy that stuff elsewhere that I, in some cases, might already have the means for it, right? Um,
Right.
and in regards to like, there's some PS4 games I might not have, or PS4 games that I might have bought that aren't available elsewhere right now, but there isn't anything like off the top of my head that I really think about. Actually, what I've been thinking about more recently is like 360 because there was like a lot of 360 stuff, and you know the emulators haven't gotten to the point where you can run everything like really great and stuff. And I keep thinking about stuff like UFC and some other games during that era that I'd be interested in going playing again. It's like the means aren't there for that, so that I'm not even thinking about PS4 and or this generation. I'm going all the way back to 360 because it feels like that stuff hasn't been sorted out. But with the current generations, they're going to get ported to PC or something else anyway in most cases. So I'm going back even further. So yeah, like if they were like, oh, we're gonna Xbox was like, yeah, there's gonna be all sorts of like I don't know. If they released the console, it's like you could play 360 games on it. That'd be huge to me. But like anything after that, it's just like I don't really care because I can find that on PC.
The one thing I think is interesting about the Sony console exclusives being available on Steam is we know part of Microsoft's strategy now is on whatever the next system is, it's going to be more like a gaming PC than a dedicated console.
Right.
Does Sony allow their games to hit Steam again so that you can play them on an Xbox console as like a workaround? Because they're not releasing everything directly on Xbox, it's going to PC.
Mm.
Like, do they put up some sort of a block so that if you buy the next Xbox, you can't just go and buy Spider-Man 2 and play it? Because that
That's a
feels
good
like something
question.
they do.
It does, yeah. And it's like the opposite of what Microsoft would do because obviously they're putting their games on PlayStation now.
They also kind of have to because nobody's buying Xboxes anymore.
Yeah, true. Uh, I guess that's something I've never thought about. Like you try to play it on an Xbox, and it's like, hey, fuck you. Uh, huh.
Like, imagine you pay like 800 for like the or whatever the ROG Ally X is. You load up Steam and you're like, I'm gonna buy Spider-Man 2, and you download it, and it's just like, nope, fuck you, incompatible.
Don't you still have to like sign up into the PlayStation Network for those titles?
Some of them you do. I don't remember if Spider-Man 2 has that, but I know that some of the other games do.
So I wonder if they can put like a block on the login or something if you're running
Mm,
Microsoft. Yeah, maybe something like that.
I it does feel like something they do. That's my big concern because Microsoft has no choice but to be very giving now.
Yeah.
Sony does not have that obligation. They actually can kind of do the Nintendo thing of fuck you, come to us.
Mm.
But also Sony's done a tremendous job in the last 15 years of like squelching the like drawing power of a lot of their IPs. Like, oh, also I watched like 4 minutes of Twisted Metal season 2 yesterday. That shit is not for me.
No.
No, like I kind of expected after like the season 1 recap, because I think I said it when season 1 was current. Like I think I watched the first episode and I was just like, this isn't what I want. And so like I thought it was going to go season 2 recap, and then they're all there at the start of the tournament. And I thought we were going to kind of get into like, you know, some actual Twisted Metal shit. I don't want to have to watch an episode or two to get into that. Like, just fucking give me Samoa Joe in the goddamn ice cream truck, play some fucking Rob Zombie, and let's get to it.
I did watch all of episode 1 and I thought it was kind of weak. I mean I enjoyed season 1, but I'm willing to stick with it to see what it ends up with.
I
Because
want to see Axel in live action so badly, just based on like the trailers and stuff. But like,
yeah,
I also saw like it has Deadpool writers on it, and yeah, I could tell. Four
that was the
minutes, I
same
could
as
tell.
season 1 though, right?
Yeah, that was also one of my problems with season 1 was it felt like a shitty like Deadpool movie
I gotta
in the
say,
one
I did
episode that I
like
watched.
you watched the first the 4 minutes of it. There's a part where John Doe discovers the Babysitters Club books, and as
Yeah,
someone who had a sister that had those, I enjoyed that quite a bit.
I I hope it's good. Maybe, you know, when we wrap up the podcast for the day, I'll jump on and try
Yeah,
some more. I also kind of want to watch Jason X because one of my mutuals on Blue Sky was like, Jason X has aged really well. Freddy versus Jason hasn't. And I've only seen Jason X one time. It was when we rented it from Movie Gallery in like early '03. Maybe it was the summer of '03. But I really wanted to see it because like by that point I'd seen everything that Nightmare had to offer except for Freddy's Nightmares, because it was '03 and there was no way for me to acquire the complete series. And I remember watching it and thinking it was a really like funny movie. And like I know there's like the scene where he shows up and it's like the girls and they're naked and he does the sleeping bag kill from Jason Goes to Hell. That's
yep,
like the one thing that's like the one impression that movie left on me was like that's like the funniest kill in the history of horror movies. I'm not gonna stab you. I'm not gonna do anything like I'm not gonna do like any of these really elaborate or like, you know, even just like hack you in half. I'm going to put you in a sleeping bag, put your friend in a sleeping bag, and beat you with your friend.
yeah. That's the thing I remember from that movie. Then, as far as a reference goes, like Muta's Mask that he ended up debuting.
Yes.
Uh,
Shout outs to
the
KOC too.
Yeah, the last time I saw it, I was at a friend's house and was we were having drinks and I had just bought the game and we were playing that. It was quite fun. And I was like, "Do you ever see Jason X?" And we're talking about it. My friend was trying to find it online, and then yeah, he found it. He eventually found it. I think the quality was shitty, but we ended up watching. I don't know if we watched all of it. We watched some of it. Yeah, it's a good movie to watch with friends. Just had to have a laugh at, of course.
Yeah. I don't take the Friday movies that seriously. The first one's really good, but it's also kind of a Halloween ripoff.
I mean,
Um,
my favorite's probably Manhattan because of how goofy it is. Like when he kicks the
especially like when he gets to New York, which I understand, like that's such a small part of the movie, and people kind of hate it because like Jason takes Manhattan for like 20 minutes. But I
yeah,
love that, like him in Times Square is like an all-time great late '80s visual.
yeah, and he kicks the boom box, which is great. I think he
Yeah,
was supposed. I think he was supposed to kick like a dog or something. And Kane Horda said like Jason wouldn't do that, so they changed it to like a boom box. Also, I like his design in that movie, like the weird like golf ball head. You know, at the end when his
yeah,
mask comes off. I like the way he looks at that.
yeah. That movie. I saw that one on like HBO or Stars or one of those channels when I was like 12 or whatever, and that movie. It's also from 1989, and for whatever reason, I love everything from 1989.
Also, we've got the Arsenio Hall interview for that movie, which is pretty
Yes,
good.
yeah. Um, and I like New Blood. Funny story
Mhm.
before we go. My best friend, the one that I saw Freddy versus Jason with, I watched the New Blood, and then I stayed the night at his house. And in their living room, I wouldn't say it's a bay window because it's not like a wide window, but they had this like giant, just square window in their living room. And they didn't have any blinds, they just had curtains. And before we went to bed, nobody, like the guy his mom was dating was like a fucking prick, and he didn't want the curtains closed for whatever reason.
Mhm.
So like in the middle of the night, like I don't fall asleep till like 1:30 because I it's been a long time since I'd been at a friend's house. I'd never really been in the town that I was in. And I just remember like it's 3 o'clock and I sit up and I look out and there is a dude not standing next to the window, but there's a dude in the yard just looking in at me. And that fucked with me so hard. And then, I
Well,
woke up the next morning and I
I
went home.
I kind of have a similar story because I was watching a Friday the 13th marathon on Friday the 13th on Spike TV, and this was when I was in high school. And so I'm going to bed, and it's probably like the same time, like 2 or 3 or whatever. And I had the light on in the hallway, and my room is directly ahead of me, and the window is the blinds are up in there, and I just see someone wave to me, and like I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, my parents were in bed, and I was like, there's like someone outside. So my mom answers the door, and like I'm standing right next to the door, and this guy is like, I knew who he was. I went to high school with him, but like he asked for me by name, and I was standing at the side, and I guess he didn't see me, and it was very weird too because like I didn't know that he knew my name. Like I just knew him from like people talking about him and people saying his name in front of the people and stuff like that. But I didn't know he knew my name because we are never in the same class or anything. Uh, so that was real weird. And my mom called the police because she was worried about him. She's like, "What's?" He's like outside at 3 in the morning. Anyway, I think a few days later I found out that he had got drunk and passed out in the ditch. Um, so like he just woke up, went on the back deck, I guess to sleep or something, and just saw me and just said he was here to see me. So yeah, that was a
Jesus
weird one.
Christ, man. Yeah. Yeah. There was a there was a night like 11, 12, 13 years ago, something like that. This drunk lady started knocking on all the doors. Like she went from one door to the other, just repeatedly knocking and like asking for somebody named Tony to come outside. And it woke my mom up. That's how loud she was. And mom's like, I'm gonna open the door. I'm like, listen, we can't actually. She was so short, I couldn't see her out our front door, and the side door at the time, the window, like the door we had, the window was up so high I could see the top of her head. That was it. And I told my mom, like, we don't know, like, if she's got like anything on her. We're not opening the fucking door. Eventually, after like 20 minutes, I was like, I'm either gonna go outside and get stabbed, or I'm gonna call the cops, and I don't want to get stabbed. So like the cops just showed up and they were like, yeah, hey, listen, I basically was like, my mother is elderly and she's scared shitless right now, and y'all need to come take care of this. And they were like, well, can't you just open the door? I'm like, okay, so do you want to deal with the 911 call if I get stabbed? And they're like, sir, this just seems like a domestic disturbance. I'm like, it would be a domestic disturbance if I knew who the fuck this was. And so they finally, and like, I thought they were going to be like, hey, yeah, come with us and we'll drive you home. No, they talked to her, and I hear her go, okay, I won't come to this house ever again. And they just let her walk away. And I was like,
Nice.
that tax dollars hard at work, everyone.
Yep.
But yeah, that's probably it for this week. Is there anything? Has Latune? Hold on, that motherfucker Latune. Hold on. Has he said anything?
He said Macho Man toy commercial, but he already announced that previously.
Yeah. Let me just make
He had
sure on
the cartoon Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Which I think of the ones he's shown is probably the best one, but still nothing special.
It's cool that he's doing like all of the sicko mode for the love of the game shit.
Yeah.
I don't know who's buying those wrestling tune stars. Apparently they are 5-inch scale. I think we talked about that last week. I don't know who this shit's for. But yeah, that'll do us for this week, I think. I won't be around next week, but the following week, apparently I'm gonna have 5 days off, so I will be able to record. So yeah, I don't know what you want to cover for that one. I mean, we could talk Fire Pro World, but there's probably also other shit we could do, because I'm kind of just delaying the inevitable with Fire Pro World because we have to talk about it. I just don't want to talk about it right now.
Right.
Do you want to try doing pro wrestling and hell wrestling again?
Yeah, why not?
Because we've tried that like 2 or 3 times now, and it's been fucking cursed each time. But like,
Well, we've been good for a while, so
yeah. So hopefully, yeah. So in 2 weeks, we'll talk about the first 2 games that the first game that Masuda of Fire Pro fame worked on, and then a weird little side game he did on the Game Boy that was kind of concurrent to the first Fire Pro game, and also the second, weirdly, because it comes out in '90. But until then, take care. Don't be an asshole. Fuck the Fed and fuck the right wing in America, and also go enjoy some ham, I guess.